Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Representing the Resin. My name is Jameson Wellborn, and today we are joined by Jesse of Lost Boys Rosin. Jesse, thank you so much for taking the time, bro.
Bro, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for taking your time every week to do this. Every fucking other day, bro.
I get so much out of it, man. Like, I mean, people don't even know, like, the community and how rewarding it is to just be able to converse with you guys and build up this platform. Like, I think just building this culture is something super important. I actually remember studying your work in the Autoflower show and some interviews you had done early in the days when I was doing my homework for some people who were coming on Fire is Fire. So it's really cool that this has come full circle. I'm super stoked to get to connect with you at Heady Happenings coming up next weekend. But yeah, you're doing a ton of cool stuff with Lost Boys. And be like we do with everybody on the show, before we get into what you're working on now, we want to learn a little bit more about you and your history. So tell us a little bit about where you came up and where you're from.
Yeah, okay. So, but first I do want to say that, like, out of anybody, I might be the one that understands, like, how much you get from this. But I also know how much work it takes to put on a show. So, like, I can't stress enough how grateful I am, and I know all the other makers are for you doing this. And then so yeah, as far as like where I grew up, or I had a pretty, like, yeah, I don't know, like I was born in Penticton, BC, and then spent the first 10 years of my life between Whistler and Pemberton. And so by the time I was like 3 years old, I was skiing and then doing like double blacks by the time I was 6. But that was like my mom's. What's that?
Were your parents big skiers, Jesse, or how did you get into it?
Yeah, so it was my grandparents that were big into it. So my mom's dad and his like third wife, who she's been my grandma since, like, she's been in my life. She's been in his life since I've been alive, kind of thing. She's my grandma. Anyways, they were both into it, and they both were like pretty paid, kind of thing. And then my mom, like, she wasn't, right? So it was like a Saturday, Sunday thing. I took lessons on Saturday. Sunday did like the day with them. And yeah, so I got like pretty good, pretty quick. I mean, you're 3 years old, you're pretty fearless. Like, your grandpa's telling you to do this. He's like, yeah, okay, I'm down. And then, like, by the time I was 10 years old, I mean, I was like, I was getting pretty damn good at skiing. But then we moved to Kelowna, BC, where then I spent the next like 20 years. And my grandparents, they didn't live there anymore, right? So there was nobody to buy the pass and shit. And so by the time I was like 12 years old, I picked up skateboarding and music in the same year. So I picked up playing guitar and singing, and then skateboarding. And so, like, as a kid, I like had like quite a bit of insight into, or like foresight into, both of them, knowing that, like, okay, like, when I'm old, I'm not going to be able to ride a skateboard. And when I'm young, like, I can do this now. So I had like this window where I said to myself, I'm going to skate as hard as I can for the next whatever until my body doesn't want me to. And I'll like continue to play, but I'll tackle like a music career, or I'll chase that later. And so, because like music came like pretty naturally to me, I picked up the guitar super easy. And so it was like, how I got into music was from, I had like a grade 6 music class, and the teacher was pretty proficient at guitar, and he convinced the school to buy all of the grade 6 students a guitar. And so, like, we were able to, or we like used the guitar, and then it like stayed at the school, obviously. And the next year's kids would use it. And so, like, gives me the guitar, I learned the song. Or sorry, he teaches us 3 songs Friday night. He's like, I don't expect you to know this on Monday, but take it home and see if you can. And I could play every single song by the time I got back, which was like, or yeah, like over the weekend, learned these 3 songs. So my parents were like, yeah, we got to get him a guitar. They got me one for Christmas. But yeah, like I said, I was pretty naturally gifted at that. And then skateboarding was like,
were you always pulled towards the singular activities? Like,
Yes.
guitar playing, skateboarding, those aren't team sports. Did you try team sports, or were you always just naturally pulled towards those singular activities?
Yeah, so for a couple years, like I tried to play hockey, and then my skating skills were not. I couldn't skate. Like I ended up hurting somebody on my own team, kind of thing, and then was like, okay, like maybe like because I couldn't stop and I fucking ran into him and hurt him, and I was like, and so but I loved hockey, and there was the Boys and Girls Club had this like floor hockey league, and so I joined that, and I played that for 3 years, and I was like the captain of the team. It was a Canadian wide league or whatever. And then like after that, that was like when I stopped, when I couldn't play that anymore. Was the year that I found skateboarding and guitar, and that's when I was like, holy shit, like nobody's relying on me. It's me against the trick. But then I've got all these homies, just like I had my teammates, which was sick. But then it was them against their trick, and it was like it didn't matter if I did bad and they did good. It didn't matter if I did good and they did bad. Like we were all there pushing each other, and like with skateboarding, like I said, like I wasn't naturally good at it. It took me a long time to get pretty good at it, but eventually I got sponsored and shit, and I was a sponsored skater for 10 years.
Oh, shit. So
Yeah.
when did you first get sponsored?
I was 19.
Wow.
And so
So
like
you,
I had been trying to get sponsored by all these local shops forever. Like I was 15, and there's these two guys at one of the shops in Kelowna, and they both like hella believed in me, but they couldn't convince the shop to sponsor me. And then they ended up like opening up their shop, and like I had to work for it, bro. Like I was pretty good at skating, but I wasn't like the best. I was not the best, but I was like the hype man. I got everybody to land their shit. That's what I was. You know what I mean? And like and like I just had this way about I could see what you were doing wrong. Like I could just be like, bro, like if you move your foot like back just like quarter inch and like flip it just like this, you'll be able to do the trick. And they'll like go land it and fucking that try. And it's like I just had this mind about it, right? And so, anyways, ended up getting put on this team, and yeah, I was on it for 9 or 10 years, and it was fucking cool. But then like skateboarding and music and all that stuff, it kind of like it's a rapscallion lifestyle, right? Like you kids are kind of fuck arounds, and so I got big into drugs, like hella big into drugs. And so it was like 16 when I first did like anything harder. Oh, but man, dial it back too. Like that year I found skateboarding, I also found cannabis.
yeah, okay.
And
So
so
I want to talk about that because I want to go back before we go forward where like you found cannabis, but did you find cannabis at the same time you became aware of it? Or did you know about it from being around your friends in the skate scene? And then was it like a conscious decision one day to partake?
yeah. So like and then my dad also smokes and shit. So
Okay.
and so like I was aware of it, but I like most things, like most drugs, I wasn't like necessarily down. Like I wasn't down to smoke cigarettes. I was like fuck that. Like that's lame. And then I mean I ended up doing most of it. And but with cannabis, it was like my best friend. We were skateboarding every day together. We were inseparable. Shout out to Bryce, man. He's the homie, and still to this day, he's one of my really really close friends. And and so I knew that he had smoked, right? Because like he kind of hung out with some of the older kids, and then we met when we were 12, and so he was already like plugged in, kind of, and his mom grew dope and shit. And so like she just grew like some like basically greenhouse weed for herself, right? Like a few plants at a time. And then I was 12 years old. It was this summer. I think it was like August. And he's like, bro, do you want to smoke weed? And I was like, yes, let's do it. And so he rolls up fucking 13 peaches and cream juicy J joints of his mom's fucking homegrown, and we go like walk down the street and go to this like local resort sort of thing, sneak onto the property and smoke weed in their fucking tennis court. And like a lot of people say they don't get stoned the first time, but I got lit. Like I was punch drunk stoned. It was wild, man. Like 12 joints to the dome. But homie was like, he was like, bro, we're gonna get you stoned. Like this is gonna work the first time for you. And like, yeah, I mean, obviously you smoked 13. I mean, if you've smoked and gotten high and then smoked again, and you know what I mean. And so it was, yeah, I got pretty laced, and then I was into it like immediately. I was like, I know that this makes me fucking slow down. Like this helps my mental, and I didn't have the words for the symptoms. I didn't have the articulation to like say why it was helping me, but then also like I was 12 years old, so you're like you're fucking with your development smoking dope at that point in time. Like I do believe that like my brain is developed in and around having a ton of cannabinoids up and in there. So like when I go without, it's not fun for me often, unless it's like on vacation and you're already fun, like you're already in a vibe, and it's like, okay, I'm in Mexico and the weed here sucks anyway, so I'm just gonna enjoy myself. But
yeah,
like in
so
Canada or go on.
what was school like for you? What was home life like for you, like as you were growing up through those years?
I was no good, man. I like I don't know, like they was I went through some shit like really young where I mean to even start it off like right off the hop, like my dad was never around. So like I said, my dad smokes pot when like that's my stepdad or now my adopted father. My biological dad, like he was not around. And so like I mean I started off in this world like not completing that, you know, not having a dad on paper. And so that was like ultimately really confusing. You know, I didn't really get it. And then my mom, she, like, bless her heart, amazing fucking lady, but she was trying to find her husband, right? And so there's a lot of men that like she ended up seeing and I ended up building connections with and thinking, oh hey, this is gonna be my dad, and then not. And so that was like relatively tough. But then like with the like fast forward to like when I'm smoking weed, at this point in time, like when I was 9 years old, my grandfather was babysitting me, and he's like, let's go rent a movie, and I'm like, okay, and he asked me, he goes, what rating are you allowed to watch? I was like, fucking 9, and I'm like 14.8, bud. Like, let's go. And he rents American Pie, and then I learn all the words in that movie, and I'm 9 years old, and I go to school and I teach all the kids this shit, and so I'm in Pemberton when that happened, and then we moved to Kelowna, and I'm like already labeled a bad kid. The fucking the principal takes me aside before I've even been in a classroom, and she's like, "I know you got a reputation for a potty mouth. Like we do not." That's what she said. We do not fucking tolerate that. And like you know, like we already know, like you have red flags on you. And then like my grade 6 teacher, I go to a new school for grade 7, and I find out from all my new friends that are like my grade 6 teacher was their like soccer coach. And he like straight told these guys not to hang out with me because I was a bad seed. Like this kid's a bad person. Do not hang out with him. Blah blah blah. Yeah, and so like I had it in my head that I was a bad kid. So I was a fucking bad kid, you know. I did, but I like always had this sense, this moral sense or this ethical sense of like doing or knowing what was right or what was truly wrong. And so I was like never a fucking badass. Like I
Yeah,
never hurt anybody. I just like did dumb shit. Like I do drugs at school or I whatever. Like I was just fucking around. And I had no sense of self-love because like all of my authority figures didn't love me, right? They all were like, this guy's a fucking asshole.
yeah,
My mom and dad, I mean, they were bless their heart, they were doing their best, but like they never really had my back either. So it was always like, what'd you do? Not like my kid wouldn't do that, you know? And so like, no, whatever. Like my mom and dad now, like our relationship's fantastic. We're really close. But it only took until I was like 25 when I was like, oh wait, like you guys were just like trying to do what was best for me, you know? And
yeah.
so, yeah, school was tough, man. I got expelled in grade 12. Um, and like and yeah, I mean I was like I had a many identity crisis, like many different phases. I was an emo kid. I wore tall tees, listening to gangster rap. I did all sorts of shit like that, like trying to find my way. But all along the only thing that really stuck with me was skateboarding and cannabis and music, playing music. And so yeah, like I said, I had a rough time during school, so I just skated. That's all I did, and I got fucking like pretty good. By the end of it, I was doing like switch frontside big spin heel flips down like 8, 9 stairs. Yeah, it was, but there was no way I was gonna make money doing it, right? And
So
so
what happened? I mean, you left school at the end of your final year. You
yeah, it was brutal.
developed a substance problem heavier than cannabis. you know, and you're looking to get sponsored at skateboarding, what happens next?
So I mean, I was 18 when I got kicked out of school. It was like February, grade 12. Too many skips, your kid can't make it. He could go to this school and he could graduate. And I was like, fuck that. I already had a job, right? I'd been working since I was 12 because I had to pay for my own skates and stuff. But like, I never worked hard. You know what I mean? Like, I worked enough to get the skate shit. Um, and then, yeah, 19 got sponsored. We did like tours, and all I did was like float. Oh, fuck, man. Okay, so I floated from rental to rental. And when I'm now sponsored, we do this tour of Vancouver Island, and I come home and I find this new rental. And at this point in time, I'd been selling weed. Like I trapped weed hard throughout high school. That was what I did. Fucking hash, fucking anything. We were selling cigarettes for $2, man. It was anything you could sell, right? And so at this point in time, I'm like out of school. I've been selling weed to all my homies. I legitimately like would just sit at home and people would roll through, and that's like all I do. I got somebody wanted to trade an eighth of weed for a fucking wheelchair once, and so I got so good at manualing in these wheelchairs because I was like, man, yeah, sure, I'll take that. I might hurt myself skateboarding. I should get good in that before I need to be. And so anyways, just in and out of this house, and then my girl and I ended up moving, and I was like, fuck this, like I'm gonna grow some weed. And I ended up like building a tent. So we rented this 2 bedroom. This is so stupid. We rented this 2 bedroom apartment, and I built like what today would be called a grow tent out of PVC and poly. And like I got this metal halide fucking thing in there, this big, big, big old ballast just sitting on the carpet. And I bought all these seeds from the local fucking head shop, Hemp City. I had fucking amnesia haze. I had great white shark. I had all these. I had like 35 different plants in this tiny little fucking 5 pack of seeds. So you know, 7 different strains going. And like so crazy enough, like at this point in time, I wasn't into any like super hard drugs, doing a lot of ecstasy and MDMA and shit. And but like had a problem. Like I definitely had a problem with it. Like I was using as much as I could. And and then from there, like I ended up like getting in an accident and like harsh cutting my wrist and like in such a way that looked like I tried to kill myself. And so when I went into the hospital, they didn't believe me because I was like piss poor drunk. I was so drunk and I hurt myself, got this accident, and I go into the hospital. They like do a wicked bad job of patching me up. And so like I just had this like vagina on my arm. It was just like disgusting and all fucking stapled, 14 staples across my wrist. And um they were like, okay, like we need once that's like relatively once we can take the staples out, we need to get back in there and see the damage done. And so they go in there and they give me or they like put me under anesthesia and they like go to fix everything. And it turned out that I had like severed the tendon to my left pinky, which is like my guitar playing hand, right? And they're like, you're never gonna be able to use your left pinky again. And I was like, fuck that. Like I play guitar, that's not happening. Like and so anyways, so when they put me under and like found all that out, I came out from that and I was in like psychosis. I was in a manic episode. And so they said to my mom, like when she picked me up or whatever, they're like, yo, like just take him home. Don't do anything. Just take him home. Make sure he's comfortable. Make sure everything's chill. Do not like overstimulate him, whatever. And she like takes me home and I'm now like I'm in like when you're in psychosis, you're in like this dreamland that is based in reality, but the consequences have no meaning. So like I'm I'm now like yeah, super mentally affected. And I ended up like I stayed awake for 8 days straight. I did some really fucking embarrassing and really fucking crazy things. I had 6 books that I was writing on the go in those 8 days. I had like oh, it was all sorts of crazy shit, man. It was a true like manic episode, psychosis. I ended up hospitalized, and so, but this was like directly. I came out of surgery. 8 days, I'm staying awake, and now I'm like I was like writing raps. Like I said, I was a musician, right? So I was like just getting into writing raps at this time. And so like to kind of put a timestamp on it too, I was 21. And so at this time I was like getting into writing rap, and now I'm manic, and I think I'm the best fucking rapper in the entire world. I'm the next big thing, right? And my homie's like sleeping on the couch, and this was the last day before I got hospitalized. And I'm like, I kind of wake him up, and I'm like, bro, can I give you $300 to borrow your car? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And he's like half asleep, and he agrees to let me take his car. And I was gonna take his fucking car to New York. I was like, I'm gonna go find Jay-Z, and I'm gonna fucking like, I was fucking straight sick, right? And I like stopped at at like this at this counselor that I'd been seeing. I stopped at her office to just tell her, hey, like I'm gonna be gone for a bit. And she immediately knew there was something wrong with me. And so she called the ambulance. But that day at her office, 8 days off of surgery, I'm doing one arm push-ups on that arm. And so I do believe that this like manic episode, mind over matter, did allow me to get the use of my pinky back. So a little silver lining, but
That's
yeah, yes, super fucked. And then from there, she like, yeah, she calls the ambulance. I'm in the hospital, and I ended up in there for a month straight. And like, it was not easy, man. I was held there against my own will. A lot of people, like I have a lot of friends who have been like, bro, that's like my biggest fear. Like it was worse than prison. Like they don't, it was fucked. Like there was, yeah, it was not okay. Like there's a lot of mistreatment, a lot of like, oh, this person's crazy, we got to lock them down and fucking let them thrash in a room for however long. And like, you're fucked. I was fucked in the head. Like I was not doing well at the time. So like, it was not good, man. It wasn't a pretty time. They let me out a little early, like I shouldn't have been out. And then this whole time the doctors were like, yo, like this is because you were growing cannabis. The chemicals that the cannabis plants released, they fucked with your head, and um now you are, they diagnosed me with bipolar, ADHD, and social anxiety. And so like the social anxiety thing, I mean, it was pretty like, I was just embarrassed, right? So I was like legit catatonic, couldn't leave the house. Mom was picking up groceries for me. Like I barely selling weed, only to the close homies. And then it was like 6 months had gone by, and I was like, fuck, like this ain't me. Like I was really social in school, man. Like I had a ton of homies, and I was like, this is not me. Like what's going on? And so I just like, I took my guitar to an open mic, and I took my guitar to this open mic, and I like signed up, and my name got called, and I fucking scattered out of the building first week. And then next week, I got on stage, didn't play a song. Next week I got on stage, played one of the three, so on and so forth, until I'm fucking like shattering this anxiety that I have to be in front of people or see people that I know. And like, I spent 20 years in Kelowna, so there was, and I was a skateboarder and in the music scene, so it was like, I knew a lot of young people, and I was selling dope, and I did a lot of dumb things at that time. So it was like super fucking tough to face reality.
good for you for getting out there that quickly. I mean, I've been in some dark places. I've seen some friends in some dark places, and I mean, 6 months to come out of something as serious as that, I think is a pretty short amount of time. And having the mental fortitude to know to push yourself to those open mics, I think, speaks a lot to your character. The same way, like, I mean, the pinky thing is crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I mean, take me through what happened next. You're out, you're healed, and
So recovery was like hella slow. Hella slow. Like I wasn't better. I was just out of the hospital. And then so it took like, yeah, that within that 6 months, I mean, I had come down from being crazy, but or like from being in the psychosis, but I was like fucking sad, bro. I lost everything. Um, Ultimately those plants and everything, all that, like my was fucking trashed. And I was with this girl, right? And she like waited until I was at a point that I had like the mental fortitude to handle her leaving me. But she'd been like cheating on me and shit. And so she left. And like that fucking hurt, bro. It was like years before I was like, I think I went on a 3 year like dating hiatus. I was just like, I gotta find me. Like this is not okay, whatever's going on. But unfortunately, like through that, her mom like we were all like very close. Like her mom was one of those like cool moms, you know, and she was really cool with us, and she'd let us smoke dope at her house and like drink and whatever. But she was always like, do not ever do cocaine. And and so when she left me, man, I went straight to cocaine. I was like, fuck you, like I'm gonna try this stuff. And and like I guess like there's a big part of like the past or like skateboarding that like I've overshone here is that I had 17 concussions or more, 17 major concussions. And so like ultimately that's going to affect like your speech, your mood, your everything. Like there's I should legally have like some sort of brain damage. Doctors lose their mind every time they hear that shit. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like they're like, how are you fucking who you are? um and so yeah, through that cocaine like was the next harmful thing I found for myself. And I got hella into it. Like I did it once and then 6 months later I did it again and then a month later and then every day. And and it was every day for like 10 years. And like it's super fucking hard. I might cry talking about it, like not gonna lie. Like I was skateboarding and then got into the coke and then like the people that were skateboarding were down with it too. And then from there, like it's fucking it was a pretty like swift decision to like kind of have to stop skateboarding because I got to be like 25 and I was still hurting myself big time but not making any money doing it and like working these shitty jobs. I had been tile setting for my dad 14 years on and off. And that was like in the winter I'd do that and then I'd find something for the summer that was more fun or excuse me, more outside or not with my dad because we didn't really get along. And and so yeah, I was doing I think I was landscaping when I got into coke. And I was killing it landscaping. I was like the manager of this team at fucking 21. I had the keys to everything. I was fucking like teaching myself how to run how to run all the equipment and shit. And then I got into coke and I started seeing this chick who like was really into it, and that was like all we were doing. It's just every night doing coke. And and then from there, still skateboarding, still sponsored, and I like hyperextended my elbow. And so like this is like imagine like a few years now have gone by. I think I'm 25 at this point, and I like touched the back of my palm to my shoulder, but not in the right way, like not in the way you can naturally do it. And so now and at that point in time, I was like polishing and detailing vehicles. And so I'm like in a sling, fucking polishing. And I'm like, okay, like I probably have to slow down on this whole skateboarding thing because I couldn't miss work. I needed to pay rent. And and I mean ultimately I needed to pay for my drug habit. And so I was like, all right, like maybe I should start hitting up open mics again. Like that was fun. And I did that and like with the intention to like test the waters to see if it was something that I could like kind of do full time. And I had couple of homies like that were doing it full time that were like, bro, you could definitely do this. And I was like, you think so? And then the second one was like, bro, you could definitely do this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, fuck. And like, I never picked a career. I never wanted to go to school. I never did any of that because I saw my parents like do shit they didn't love their entire life. And it was because they were like, my mom's really good at math. So she was an accountant. My dad's really, really good at setting tiles. That's what he did. But they fucking hated it. They did not like it. So I wasn't like okay to settle for that kind of thing. But I also like couldn't find direction otherwise. So just skateboarding and then started playing music, like with the intention to make some money doing it. And it was fucking like pretty quick, pretty well received. I ended up yeah, like I was just a local musician. I wasn't like no I was just a performing musician, but I was like at the height of it all, like on a holiday you make more money than you would on just a normal day. But I was working 6 days a week playing music every day, sometimes three different gigs a day, you know, upwards of $500 an hour. It was fucking crazy. It was wild. I'm like, I'm fucking doing it, but the whole time I'm rip roaring on cocaine, right? Like the whole fucking time. I had I had so many gigs booking that I was booking. I started like a booking service and I started booking other fucking yo man, I can't make it to this gig because I'm here. Can you make it? And like I wouldn't even take money from them. Fuck it. Like it's your music. Like, get after it, man. Like, who cares? Like, this is just me connecting dots. I've always been pretty good at connecting dots. And then yeah, like by the end of it, I was like resident musician at a bunch of different spots. I was hosting open mics. We did this night called, like, it was a variety show. So we'd bring out other musicians while I'd bring out fucking poetry, live painting while people are playing music. And like, it was a cool thing that we had going. But again, all along I was doing drugs, and I couldn't get more than like a week normally, or like at best a month sober. And I met my fiance. um we met through some mutual friends, and like we got together, we got close. She didn't really know I had a drug problem. I was like pretty good at hiding it, functioning addict, so to say. And then, she ended up ultimately just like finding out and figuring it out. And from there, like, she never, ever, ever, ever got mad at me for using. Never got mad. Like, she was disappointed and she was like heartbroken to see me in such a place, but she still loved me, and that shit, like, that taught me how to love me too, right? And like, that was what I needed. And then so it was like only with her that I ever found a month clean in Kelowna. And then she's wicked. She's got a really awesome career that she's worked pretty hard to obtain. And she's working for she's a reporter, like an investigative journalist.
Very cool.
And yeah, really, really sick. And so she was working for like a local Kelowna online outlet, and they were fixing to open up a Victoria outlet. And we were just ready to leave. Like, we knew that, like, I could get a week clean and then I'd see somebody and they'd be like, and I knew everybody, and they'd be like, yo man, you want to get fucked up? It's like, yep, let's go. And even if it was a bump, like, that was it. And then once I opened the floodgates, I was that kind of addict. And like, I was like, you can't stop me once you start me kind of addict. And like doing 10 grams in a night kind of guy.
Would you be
And
able to, stop? Like, I have some experience. Would you be able to stop after the night, or did you roll into multiple nights?
just kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. And like, I was just that guy that, like, you'd never see me go to bed with a bag.
Yeah.
No. And like, there'd even be times where I'd like flush a bag but still hide some for myself, right? And like lying to everybody. And like, I never like fuck, man. Like, I always never borrowed money for cocaine, but I just borrowed money to fucking pay my bills because all the money that I earned was going to cocaine. You know what I mean? And so it was like, I had this like moral code and shit that I was like convincing myself I'm a good guy. And like, but I was never like fucking anybody over. I never trapped coke because I knew if I did, I'd die. All sorts of shit. It was brutal, man. Like, yeah. And so like, it got to a point where I like wanted to live, but I knew, like, every day, bro, I wanted to die. Like, that was straight the fuck up, no word of a lie. Like, every time I did it, before I was doing it, I just, like, I didn't want to live. I knew that's why I continued to do it. I was like, there's no way out. That's it. Like, I'm done. That's it. I've fought a couple addictions, ecstasy, cigarettes, these other things, and whatever. No, coke was the worst. And I didn't think I was gonna get through it. And like, there was times where I was just gonna like do the job for it. And then there was other times, or most of the time, where it was like fentanyl is prevalent. Like, I'll find that shit by accident and I'll die. And that'll be fine. And that'll be like, okay. I don't care. And I didn't mind. And then, it wasn't until Megan came around that I started like understanding what it was to love yourself. And then, like, as I am now, I'm fucking getting a week sober. I'm getting a month, and then I'm cracking, and I'm still want to die because I feel like there's no way out of it. And so yeah, they opened up their Victoria office, and boom, fucking out. And I mean, I say that so it was January 11th when that lifestyle stopped. To January 11th, 2019, when that lifestyle stopped. And so I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I haven't made mistakes since, but never did that lifestyle start back up again. And like, since then, I don't know the last time I like had fucking relapse, so to say. But it's been easy over a year. And each time it was like I did it and I go home and I'd tell Meg. I'd be like, fuck, like I fucked up. Like I gotta fucking just put that day behind me. I'll be better tomorrow than I was today. And so I never really like gave it weight, and it was every time it was just because of the people that I had found myself surrounding myself with were doing it. And I, once it's in front of me, it's really hard for me to say no. um and then eventually, like I was able to and removed those individuals from my life, and now I do this whole thing. But I mean, yeah, so we moved to Victoria to tackle music. That's what I was like, that's all I have, that's all I can do. I'm gonna play music. I guess I like totally over like glossed over the fact that like for the last few years of playing music, I also was trimming and shit. And so
Yeah.
I was working in a bunch of ACMPRs. I was watering. I was doing all sorts of shit, right? And I was just like, I at that point in time, oh, and I like never thought to grow again ever after the doctor said, "Yo, this is going to give you psychosis." I never wanted to experience that again. And I, man, there's been a really rough time with like drugs and shit. So there's more to it before we got here. When I was 27 years old, I was doing psychedelics like heavy, but I was micro dosing, but like 10 times a day, and so it ultimately, if you microdose 10 times a day, it's a macro dose. And so I was doing like much acid and a ton of mushrooms. Um, and then by the end of this month straight of doing acid, mushrooms, cocaine, any drugs we really like thought were gonna stimulate, get us woke, essentially, um, that was the goal. And 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 then we found some DMT, and I fucking smoked it on a red hot fucking quartz, broke through. I came out, I'm like, cuckoo, cuckoo, boys. Like, I fucking get it. We are the walrus. Like, and I went fucking boom, right back into the hospital, into another manic episode. And so both times, like drug induced psychosis. And so, um, and so like through that, each time, I mean, I got evicted. I had to reset, sell everything, reset. And I mean, I've had, a lot of us have had to do that a few times in our life, and it's not easy. It wasn't easy. And then from there, you know, like I was with someone when that happened, and it was super toxic, and she was like hitting me and all sorts of shit like that. And eventually, like she'd break up with me all the time, and I'd take her back because like I was a committed individual. I didn't understand like that, how toxic that actually was. But like if I committed to you, and like we had a hard time, it's fine. Like I'm committed, and we'll get through it. And so like, yeah, she broke up with me timeless or countless amounts of times. And finally, the last one, I had like met Megan at a bar the like night before, and she was a super cool girl. And this girl broke up with me. And I was like, fine, go. Like that's fine. That's okay. Like I do think that I'll drive with somebody else in this world. And then it like turned out that Megan was just harsh off like a brutal breakup, and we kind of just like slowly we texted. We didn't like jump into anything. And then like maybe 2 weeks later, it was December 4th, 2018, or 1st, 2018, that we like had our first date. And then December 1st, 2019, I asked her to marry me because I just knew like nothing had ever been that easy, that supportive, that like whatever. And at this time, I was like still active in addiction. And so like we knew we weren't gonna like jump into getting married quickly. Like I just knew that I wanted to marry her. And then yeah, so it was January 19th, no, January 11th, 2020 that I got sober. Sorry. January 11th, 2020 that I got sober. We moved to Vancouver Island. I moved out here February 8th. I had a gig on the 7th. It was my last gig in Kelowna. It was a farewell gig. And I left, like, I had my car packed at the gig, and I left at fuck 4 in the morning the next day. And I got out here 2 weeks early. Megan had to finish out some stuff at work. And when she got here, yeah, the plan for me was to tackle the music scene. And then in March 2020, fucking COVID hit. And So like back to these grows, I'm trimming at these grows. We did a transplant one day. There was lots of fresh plants, and the owner, he's like, yo, do you want one of these? Like there was some fire clones that didn't end up like fitting in the room. And he's like, do you want to take one of these home? And I was like, fuck, I've like never tried or like, I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, it's all good. It's super easy. Here's a fucking sample pack of nutrients that I never used because it's not big enough for my rooms. So I can't actually give it a go. And yeah, like run with it. It was a grape LA. And I fucking hung up a blanket over the closet in Kelowna, and I started growing this plant. And right at the same time, 2019, November 2019, my homie brings over a fucking rosin press, and I dabbed, bro. Like I was dabbing in 2009, 2008. We were smoking shatter off the red hot Thai nails, and like so I was into dabs, really loved dabbing, and only ever smoked shatter. Didn't Oh, and another thing too, like when they told me that like you can never grow, I was like, okay, cool. Like I'll just find the grower, I'll buy my weed from him, I'll find the shatter maker, I'll buy that from him. No worries. I won't ever grow it, but I always knew growers. So I was always really plugged into good prices, but I didn't understand or like fathom the cannabis community that we have. I did not know at all, no idea that there was these brands and like none of that shit. I had no fucking clue, no clue. And so it wasn't until um it was like I think it was 2019, and I was playing a gig, and I'm outside on during one of the intermissions. I'm smoking a joint, and I see this guy sitting on a bench, and he's like looking kind of like hungover, almost like just like not stoked. And I'm like, bro, do you want some of this? And he's like, fuck yeah, like I could use that. And it was I don't know if like everybody knows him, but he's in our community, and it was Sneakers and Beakers. And so he's a glass shop based out of Vernon, and he's actually like become my best friend since that day. That was we met, and he plugged me in. He was like, bro, like there's like a whole heady sesh thing that happens all the time, and I didn't know what heady was or none of that shit. And he totally plugged me in. And then so now fast forward to us moving, I've got this plant, and I'm like, fuck, like everything I owned, we sold everything except for what would fit in this Mitsubishi fucking Outback, and and the front seat was a box with a fucking 3 foot vegging cannabis plant, and so we move out here, and I ended up I'm now like learning how to grow from a homie, and I'm calling him every day, fucking after work, 2 hours on the phone with him, and he's telling me how to grow weed, and like just we're just talking, and I'm learning about the plant and how to actually cultivate it. And I'm like, bro, do you want to start a podcast? And he's like, no, but I'll be your first guest. And so like the original inception of the Autoflower Show was for um was gonna just be a photo period, a cannabis podcast. And so like now I'm like, okay, but I gotta learn how to fucking do all this. I've been recorded, I've never recorded. I've never ever released an episode of a podcast ever. Like I've never done anything like that. I'm not an audio engineer, I'm just a fucking musician. And so I'm like learning how to do all this shit. And it took me like him and I are recording episodes so that I can have some like some content to edit and fuck with and figure it out. And like after 2 weeks, I finally had an episode that was like not palatable to the ear. Like you know what I mean? Like you can handle it. Like the EQ on the vocals of the whole entire show are just fucking like I just shot in the dark the whole fucking time. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing at all. And so um yeah, he tells me he doesn't want to do it. So to say, he'll be my first guest. I'm learning how to edit episodes, and I find autoflowers, and I'm like, oh, this seems like really, really convenient for somebody like me growing in a 3x3 tent, like no veg space, no cloning capabilities whatsoever. Also, like I was in a brand new town, and nobody would fuck. I couldn't find a plug out here to save my life, bro. Somebody ended up charging me like the cost of an ounce of shatter for fucking a quarter ounce, and it was the only thing I could find other than going to the dispo. And at this point in time, it was trash. Like nothing at the dispo. You knew it wasn't going to be good. And so yeah, I had no plug out here, and I'm growing in this 3x3 tent. and I find autoflowers, and I'm like, oh shit. And the whole time I was going to do this podcast, I mean, and throughout the entire duration of the show, I claim that I'm a fucking noob. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I was a musician, and I had spent like fucking hours learning how to navigate Instagram as a musician. And like, musicians are a dime a dozen, and cannabis content, like, it just moves itself. Like, it just, cannabis and cannabis content sells itself. Like, if it's good, it flies. And so, and then I'm like thinking about starting this cannabis podcast, and I'm like, oh, like, there's like, thousands out there. There's lots out there. And then I find autoflowers, and I start looking into information for these autoflowers, and I found one podcast, one, in the entire fucking world. And I was like, well, that's the niche. That's the answer. That's what I'm gonna go for, because, and now I have autos, and I'm growing them, and I need to learn. And like, now there's this whole subcategory of fucking, and nobody's teaching about it. And so I got on a few guests, and there was Sneakers and Beakers was the first fucking sponsor of the show, right? And then I'm like, I now can email others and be like, hey, I'm building a sponsor team, and there's one name on the list, and they're like, okay, cool, we'll be the second. And like, literally nobody said no to me, not a single person. And it was because I was concise, articulate, and I had a fucking game plan. I knew what set me apart from any other thing out there, and I had zero followers, like zero, and like, when the name, the Autoflower Show, was a fucking available on Instagram, I got goosebumps. I was like, that's like, it's people like type in Autoflower, and that's gonna pop up. And so, like, with all of my knowledge of social media, navigating social media for music, and now I'm like, I'm not thinking outside the box, but I'm thinking in a different box, like, from, you know what I mean? And so, like, I'm thinking about doing cannabis content, not music content, but it all applies. And so I ended up like doing pretty well on the show. Like, I mean, it didn't end up making me a ton of money, but getting the show out there, I mean, it got to 24,000 followers at its height. And it was all thanks to, like, just like needing purpose and COVID, and then everybody who agreed. You know what it's like when you start a new show and people are like, oh yeah, fuck off, like, you're nobody, what are you gonna do for me, and like, do for me, right? And it's like, I didn't actually have many people like treat me like that. And so by the like fourth guest, I'm now like plugging myself in, keeping my finger on the pulse as harsh as I could, as hard as I could, on the Autoflower community. Like, every day, 16 hours a day, I'm up at fucking at 5, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm networking, and I'm figuring out how to do this show, because I can now no longer play music, and I have nothing to fall back on. Oh, and I got fired from this like delivery job that I got. Um, Big reason why I never left Kelowna, because I was like afraid of getting lost in any city. So when we moved out here, I got a delivery job so that I could learn the spot. And yeah, so I got fired from that job. But I had already like had the podcast idea underway. I was learning. It was a job where I was like sitting around waiting for deliveries, right? So I could actually spend time at work on my computer learning. And then, yeah, I got fired, and now I'm working 16 hours a day on this fucking podcast that like might make me money, might not. But I got fired for COVID, so I was on CERB, right? And so like, I'm getting $2,000 a month to fucking put 16 hours a day in my podcast. Well, that was good enough for me. Like, I wasn't, I don't have, I'm not a, I don't have a lot of like cost of living, so to say. My car payments are low, and that's about it, right? Like, I'm not lavish living over here. And so, yeah, tackling this podcast day in, day out. Fourth episode, I now have like listened to every episode of the other Autoflower podcast. I think it's called the Autoflower podcast. And he had a guest on that he spoke to like very briefly, but about the one and only Autoflower Cup, and it was the winner of the cup, and his name was Firebuds 101. And I'm like, invite him on my show, and I asked him, I said, hey, like, do you have any before the show, or before we like did the live, I asked him, I said, do you have any episodes or any like podcasts or any articles, anything that I can look up so I can like have some homework done. other than the one on this show. And he was like, no, that's actually the only one. And I was like, oh, okay, fuck, like you won this contest, and like people didn't like come running to you asking you, like, okay, cool, well, yeah, let's get you on. And so we got on. And oh, at this point in time, I wasn't doing them live. I was doing them on Skype, recording it, and then I never did videos unless it was done like live. I couldn't figure, or like couldn't master, or didn't even bother trying mastering video editing. I just did audio. Um, so I just like ripped the fucking videos into GarageBand, and then I would release that onto Spotify. So anyhow, so we recorded this episode in our first time ever really chatting, and we talked for 4 fucking hours, man. And this guy gave me 4 hours of his time, and I was like flabbergasted. And then I was like, and it was a great time to like cut it, and so we cut the recording, and then we talked for another 2 hours. And within that, and like we became like we jived, you know, like we really got along. And during that last the off air conversation, I said to him, I was like, have you ever thought about like starting a school or something, like teaching people, like you teaching people start to finish how to grow an autoflower? He's like, that's why my name is Firebuds 101. Like I want to teach people how to do fire buds. And then we started that autoflower 101 course where for once a week for the duration of an autoflower crop, we went live and told everybody what to do. And well, he went live, we went live, and he told everybody what to do because I had no fucking idea. But then through this, the podcast is now getting notoriety. It's getting followers. I'm now having like people like I have fucking Jinx Proof on the show. I had Elijah Theodoro. I think that's how you pronounce his name, the UFC fighter
Yep.
with the medical use exemption.
Yeah.
And like so the only
Beast.
professional, yeah, he's a beast, or was, I believe,
Yeah.
right? Because I think he recently passed
He
away.
recently passed away.
Yeah.
To
But yeah,
rise.
rest in power, that guy for sure. He was really cool. And like, and then so yeah, Jinx Proof. I had Jeff Lowenfeld. There were so many people that were just like, yeah, we'll come onto your show. And I'm like every day, I'm like I'm exploding with goosebumps with all of this, like with the traction, with the I had videos on Instagram hitting 200,000 follow or 200,000 views. I had fucking videos on TikTok going to 3.6 million. Like it was all just like really overwhelming for somebody who had no idea that this world existed, not a year before all this started happening. And then from there, like it was I don't even really know kind of what got me like to like stopping, I guess. Like, I mean, I ended up getting really busy with Lost Boys and stuff, but it was more like there was some clear or some background issues I was having, and I wasn't able to do episodes. And then once I wasn't able to do, like, I'm recording them live, but I'm not able to get them to Spotify, and now I'm 10 episodes behind, and now I'm never going to do that. And because now I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm so procrastinated so far in the hole that I'm embarrassed at this point that I'm like reaching out to the people that didn't get their shit onto Spotify, and I'm saying, oh, like I'm sorry, like you know what I mean? But all it was is I lost the capability to get the video off of Instagram onto my computer. And like since then I got it, and we got all the classes out, and it's been, not every episode has been put out, but every class was put out, so that like, you know, we did the class twice. um, and so, I mean, ultimately, all along though, like every crop, I kind of glazed over the fact that in 2019, Homie brought over, when I was back in Kelowna, he brought over a rosin press, and I had no idea. I'm just gonna take my hoodie off here. I had no idea about rosin or about anything but shatter or diamonds, right? Like it was all butane, and And so he brings over this rosin press, and he's like, he messaged me. He's like, you got some weed? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you got a lot? And I was like, yeah. What's up? He's like, I'm coming over. And he brings over this fucking rosin press. We had no bags, no press bags, and we're just squishing grams. And like, and I literally watched this amazing weed I had turn into fucking a gram of dabs. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like we're just squishing out grams of dabs, and I'm freaking out. Like I'm running around the room, losing my fucking mind, This is I like I said, wasn't plugged into the industry, so I didn't know about this hair straightener tech. I didn't know about anything like that. Immediately, I'm like, I'm going to buy a fucking pound, and like, can I borrow this? And so I squished out this pound right before we moved. I smoked all that rosin pretty quickly, and then yeah, now we're out here and I'm doing the podcast. And so, and I had never tried fucking hash rosin ever. I didn't know, no idea. And so now it's like the summer of 2020, and I go visit my parents. They live in the Kootenays, and I go to visit them, and I'm like, hey Nav, or Sneakers and Beakers. I'm like, yo, come meet me out here. Um, and because it was like kind of, it's way closer for him to meet me there than to come out here. And I was like, come camping or whatever, come stay at my parents' motel. And he does, and he's like, it actually turns out my homie just moved out there, and so we should sesh with him when we're out there. And he didn't, Sneakers and Beakers didn't know that I had never tried live rosin. And at the time, like, I think he only brought, like, some shatter or whatever he brought, right? And it was like, I was like, bro, did you bring any live? And he was like, oh no. And I was like, man, I've never tried it before. And he was like, oh shit, well, like, homie will have some. And Buddy brought it down, and I smoked it. It was, yeah, it was 2020, I think, the first time I smoked live rosin. And I was like, this is meds. Never before has anything else in my entire smoking career hit me medically as such. I was like, anxiety's washed away, everything. Like, I was just like, I smoke weed for my ADHD, because if I don't smoke weed, I'm all over the map. And if, like, this is me on a few dabs, right? So imagine me with no dabs. And so, like, I'm pretty high intensity, high energy individual. So like the cannabis has always slowed me down a little bit. But the dabs, man, those, like, the live rosin, it was the cleanest I had ever felt in my entire life. The cleanest me that I had ever felt. I was just like, damn, like, this is clarity. This is clarity. Like, this is cool. And so he gave me a gram, which was like epic, right? And so I milked that shit. Like, it took me like 2 months to get through that gram, because I had all this other shit, right? And I was pressing flower rosin, so I had my own press at this point. Because of the show, I got a sponsor. Clearly Gold ended up giving me their, like, mini squish, and so I'm fucking crushing as much weed as I can. Anytime, my first crop, I ended up pressing the entire fucking thing into flower rosin. No, it wasn't a crop. I shouldn't say that. It was like a 3x3 tent, right? So my first plant, I cut it down. I didn't even like the terps on it. I don't like great LA terps. I wasn't stoked on the, like, smoking aspect of it. I was stoked on learning how to grow it. And so, like, I pressed out this stuff, and it was fire. Unbelievable flower rosin. Like, it was not, like, hands down top three of anyone that I ever made. And I had this friend that I made out here, and she had Lyme's disease, or, like, undiagnosed. I don't think she has since gotten the diagnosis, but it was, like, crazy, like Lyme's disease. But anyways, she died. The diagnosis wasn't quite that. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but she was, like, chronically ill. And I, like, I kept giving her free shit all the time, and, like, just being like, here, man, like, it's all good, like, no worries, it's a gram or whatever, like, I'm happy to help. And I ended up dropping her off a gram of that stuff. And, like, she had tremors, and it, boom, like, booms, like, poker steady or poker straight, like, not shaking anymore after one dab of this shit. And I was like, well, here, take it all. And because, like, I didn't want the terp, right? I was just, and so I gave it all to her. And then from there, because at that point I knew what hash rosin was. And so I was like, nah, this is cool, but, like, this isn't live rosin. So this isn't, like, just take it. It's fine. I don't care. And so I gave it to her, and then really, like, got right back into the next crop, or, like, next plants, and I did auto flowers. And ever since then, I've been, like, I've dried maybe two plants. Like, I've been on this, like, endless pursuit of yeah, relentless pursuit of passion, getting to that end result, that Lost Boys now releases today. Um, I mean, I wasn't gonna take no for an answer, but I was a broke boy, like, I had no fucking money, and but I wanted to do it. And so I was on Instagram, and I found some people close to me. Um, I mean, yeah, like I don't work with them anymore. But quad farmers up in and they were 2 hours from me. And I fucking finally convinced this dude after like months of talking to him and months of him like seeing me get up at 5 in the morning and be the first one seeing his story. And like he's logging this shit, but he's like kind of blushing or, you know, sloughing me off, being like, yeah, yeah, whatever. Yeah, yeah, you can come trim. We trim in 2 weeks. Yeah, yeah, 2 weeks roll around, no fucking call. And like that kind of thing. And he was just like making sure I was straight up, I think. Like he wasn't making sure I wasn't a fuck around. And then eventually he had me out. And so now I'm trimming and I like trim circles around his crew there. And then I'm like, bro, you got to make this into hash. And I think it was like fucking 9 months of trimming for the guy. You got to make this into hash, bro. You got to make this into hash. You got to do it. Like, and, uh, and eventually, like, I then went back to my parents' house, and that homie that was out there, him and I, like, he ended up like funding a little lab. And my mom and dad, the motel that they own, it's like, it was derelict when they bought it, so like it was abandoned. And so a lot of these rooms were like not going to be used for like the next year or two, and they needed renovations. And so we ended up like hash labbing out this fucking hotel room for my mom. And like it was chill because like we weren't fixing to sell it, we were trying to learn. Like it was like, hey mom, I just want to learn how to make hash, and this room is fucking, it's cold as shit in the Kootenays in the winter. And and I was like, this is fucking perfect, mom, do you mind? And she's like, yeah, like I guess so. It's not gonna smell like weed after. Oh, it smelled like weed after, but I didn't know that it would. And we spilt a bunch of water on these like old carpets and stuff. And she ended up getting it to not smell like that. But yeah, so moms and dad, they came through and they let me fucking wash hash and learn.
Shut
And
up, moms. Shut up,
yeah,
moms.
fucking right. Yeah, mom and they're both like they were both very supportive of this. I think could see how passionate I was about it and whatever, and they were down. I actually still to this day have the spoon that she let me use, scoop, like collect the hash out of the bags with from her kitchen. Like I still use that shit because it's just sentimental. It's the one I used to scoop the Gucci. So, but yeah, and then from there, like homie ended up like he ended up selling me all his equipment and like letting me take it before like final payment, and then like letting me use it to get him hash or whatever the
Yep.
trade ended up being. And that was like that like he ended up holding on to it for a while. And so now I'm with Quad Farms, and he ended up building a fucking full bore lab for me, getting the everything, 33-gallon hand washer, everything. I had on demand water. I had one thing we didn't like dial in was a good ice machine, so I was buying that. But other than that, like it was a very stellar setup in a garage, and it was a great place to be learning. But yeah, so when I went down in the Hash Hotel and came home with some fire rosin, he was like, "Oh fuck, like you can do it. Okay, let's go." And he bought into the whole program. Um, Ultimately, I mean, we ended up just going our separate ways for whatever reason. No bad blood. It's all good. No hate. Um, yeah, I mean, like, in this space, I mean, a lot of times, people like there's a lot of shared whatever, and some people just want to do it themselves, right? And so that's what he ended up deciding, and it was no big deal. I moved on. It sucked because of the timing, because I had like a bunch of biomass earmarked for the 710 sesh. I wish we met there at that sesh. And then that's why I ended up I like, I mean, for anybody who's been following Lost Boys and knows that I needed to get collabs, that's where the Maple Melts collab was born. Um, the big bag, because I like put a PSA or a call of arms or whatever out, and then I was like, hey, like I don't think I did it in the story if I remember correctly. I like reached out to some of the makers and Juicebox Selections. Shout out to Juice, fucking one of the realest ones in the game. He lives like 5 minutes from me, and he was at my house within 2 minutes with biomass. He was like, here, bro, and it was like no fucking brainer. It was a no brainer, and it was crazy to me that like another player in the game would be like, I was expecting kind of growers to be like, yo man, you want to process my shit? Like, let's get it to you, right? But another hasher, give me some of his single source, like what, bro? It was fucking wild. And then Maple, same shit, like, yeah man, sounds good, let's do it. And 33rd as well. And then shouts to Pineapple too, because he like let me use the space, right? So um at this point in time, I do believe I had already like grabbed all the equipment, and so that's like in that lab. And so like I'm using the vessel that I have in that lab, and then I think just a dryer, and everything else is his, right? So it was like, he gave me a place to plop some shit, but other than that, like I would have been fucked. I would have been like washing in a tent with an AC going or something crazy. And then the maple melts, the big bag ended up winning Terpius jar that day. And so like it was just humbling, bro. It was like all around. Yeah, like I think I like gave a speech and like cried a little. I'm a crier. I got tears. But yeah, and so like it was, I feel, and it was crazy. And like with the inception of Lost Boys, or like I definitely glossed over some shit there too, like Quad Farms, then like Pineapple, I had him on the podcast on the Autoflower show, and then something happened where I think like Sacred Gardens came on and showed his face, or he was like wearing a mask, and then the mask fucking fell off, and he was like, bro, like I'll give you a fucking pound to delete that video. Like delete the whole episode, just get rid of it, do it again. I'll give you a pound of weed. And I was like, you don't have to give me a pound, man. If it like means a lot to you that your face isn't out there, like I'll just ask Connor to reschedule. And he was like, no, like I have to. And I was like, I tell you what, man, like I'll give you my shipping address and, and we can whatever. Like I don't care if anything shows up or not, but I'll delete the episode. And so I did. Fucking some fireweed showed up, which was super cool. Connor and I did it again. The second episode was like, it wasn't quite as good, but it was still really great. But like I think on the first one we gave away some cuts, which was like super fucking cool. Like I think he gave away a cut of Drago and a cut of papaya cake, which was like, damn son, like that was really really cool. And so now at this point in time, this was my now, I guess the first person I was buying hash from was Slay on Solvent List, and then from there I then met Connor. And now I like got straight to the source, and he knew that I had the lab going with Quad Farms. And I, at that point in time, like I didn't have SOPs, right? Like I didn't have a set attack. Like every wash I was changing things because I wasn't having success at the end. Ultimately, once I like hooked up with Pineapple and learned what I know now, I wasn't doing anything wrong. It was the genetics, the input. Like it was fire in, but it just wasn't washing for me. Like at the end of the day, that's it. Like I just wasn't, and I was like super super anxious that it was my fault, right? Because this guy just built me a fucking huge lab. He's like freezing portions of his crop, and we're getting fucking ghost washes, or we're getting 0.8%, or I think the best we got at first was like a 1.5, and it wasn't good rosin. Like it just wasn't terpy. And then one time I made rosin, and I was like, oh, like I didn't quite understand it. It's not until you get in the room will you fully understand it. But I added the 45, being like, well, there's like that's lots of rosin. Like why am I throwing that out? And I wasn't selling this shit at this point. Like I was just making it to learn how to make it. Like we weren't at a point of being able to let it out. And then Connor got sick, and so he got diagnosed with cancer. Well, he had the appendicitis and then cancer. He went through it. Yeah, quite an intense fucking story. And so when he got sick, I had already been like bugging him, like, bro, I'm buying hash from you. Can you just teach me like once? Can I come fucking wash? Like, just show me that I'm not doing this fucking wrong, please. And I mean, ultimately, most of us are kind of like, yeah, sure. Like, you gotta vet people. You gotta make sure that they are who you want in your room, and that the attitudes are aligning, that the values align, that this person isn't here to just take advantage of you, so on and so forth. So like I didn't blame him for, you know, kind of telling me like, yeah, like you can come. And then, oh, I washed it, I did it late, you know, no worries, like I just didn't, you know, it wasn't a good time for you to come or whatever reason. And then eventually um he had like agreed. He was like, yeah, okay, next time you wash, or next time I'm gonna wash, I'll let you know. And he was like super into it, it seemed. And then he got the diagnosis. I believe this is how it worked. And then from there it was like, oh, okay, well, like I'll come do it for you, bro. Like you can teach me, you can tell me what to do. And now, because you can't lift, you couldn't do shit. You had fucking abdominal surgery twice, right? In like the span of 2 months or something silly. Like it was crazy. And so yeah, like I mean, long story short, I ended up taught me his SOPs, and I started washing like a lot of the biomass, or a lot of yeah, everything to help him until he got better, right? And so that's how like the collab was born, because I was, you know, passionately working for him. You know, the rosin was really good that I was pumping out. I had his fire with now like new set of eyes on it. Like I mean, it was I was now had access to like the best biomass possible, and you can't imagine what that meant to me, right? Like I was floored. I couldn't understand, like it was hard to fathom, like it was surreal, bro. I was just like, all of a sudden I've got the best of the best in front of me, and I get to like take the care to make it fucking as best as possible on the extraction side.
Was it immediately rewarding, like washing a material that's known to yield better in the wash bin and seeing that, oh, it wasn't me?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was like the first thing I washed for him was papaya back cross, and then that got entered into that like Canada's favorite grower contest.
Yeah.
And so tell me that that wasn't validating for your boy. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit! Like I like it was the pineapple team, like all that goodness, right? Like at that point, Lost Boys wasn't a thing. Um, and like I can't stress enough that pineapple was like a big part of the support for me to start Lost Boys. You
Was
know, so
was Connor pushing you to you got to do your own thing, or was it more so you coming to him
it
and
was
saying,
like
so yeah,
like I came to him and I was like, bro, like I don't know how you want to do this. Like I'm down to like if you remember Gastown and Sloth, right? I was like, oh, I'm down. Like I'll be Sloth. I'll just be the guy in the washroom. Like I don't care. And but I was like, but I do have like an idea for a brand, if that's not going to like rub you the wrong way, or if that's not like, if that's, you know, if what you had in mind was for me to be like strictly team pineapple, that's what I'll do. But if you are like are okay with me being my own brand, like I'll do that too, because I'm over here with Quad Farms, right? So I had another lab going and shit, and like other plans and growing my own and like all this other stuff, right? So he hella encouraged me. Like him and his wife were both like, yo, like what? Like, because I was anxious to even ask. I was like, yo, like I've been anxious to ask this of you, but like, do you mind if I start a brand? And both of them were like unequivocally like down. They were like, fucking do it, bro. Like that's a great idea. And they fully supported me to do it. So big ups to them, man. Like I wouldn't have taken the plunge without it, right? Without that encouragement. So,
that's
and like without his teachings, like I mean, to my credit within it too, like I mean, I had already spent quite a bit of time on the bag, so it's not like he had to like tell me what to do. He gave me his SOPs and was able to like kind of like walk away to a certain degree, because I understood everything he fucking said, and I took notes, and I'm like, and so he gave me everything, he told me everything to do, and then watched me do it, and then I was good, and he was like, okay, cool. And then like every wash now we just have a conversation. How do you want this done? What's up? You know? And are you pulling for melt? Are you not? Are we rosin only? Are we doing 90? Are we doing whatever? And we just talk about it every wash that we face together for this collab. Um, he did all the melts, and I ended up doing all the rosins. Lost Boys rosin. It's just like what I'm about, man. I really, really like rosin. I enjoy melts. Don't get me wrong, but Like I fucking love rosin. I love it. I love the press. That's my favorite day of the
How
extraction. It's press day.
before we get into like the technical hash side of the questions, I want to ask how long did you have the idea for Lost Boys as a brand?
Um, not very long. So it was conceived on like the Instagram was made December 24th this year.
Very
No,
cool.
last year, right?
And like,
Like last.
are you just a big fan of Peter Pan, or what? What?
Okay, so my my dog, one of them, he's I got an older one and I got a puppy. Okay, so one of them, his name's Rufio, and so from the movie Hook.
Yeah,
Uh, so we owned him for 2 weeks, and I'm like holding him in my arm, and my mom's home was like an open concept house, so like end to end, you could see through it, and I'm holding him in my arms at one side, and I'm like playing with his wispy hair, and I make him a three-winged mohawk, right? Like Rufio had. And my mom from across the house, she goes, "He looks just like Rufio," and I was like, "That's it, that's his fucking name." And like, I loved that movie growing up. That was the one we were, you go to the blockbuster or whatever, and if you were that person always getting a new movie, maybe that was you. But for me, it was I was always getting the same fucking movie, and it was Hook every time. And then Hook or Beetlejuice, I guess, actually. But anyhow, so I just loved Peter Pan. But the Robin Williams, the Hook version of it, like Robin Williams really, I always had a soft spot for him growing up. He was the genie in Aladdin and shit, right? And so, um, yeah, and then we got a new puppy last year, and she's a mini Dachshund, and they can hear me talking about them. Um, and we were like, what are we gonna name her? And then we looked at other names of Lost Boys from the movie Hook, and like the only one that was kind of like feminine, and then also not like a stupid like name like Come Along or something like that, was Pockets. And so both my dogs are named after Lost Boys from the movie Hook. Lost Boys Rosin.
that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I too watched that movie more than a few times coming up. There's definitely one of my go tos in the VCR.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, so good.
that's really cool.
Uh,
So as you're working with Pineapple, and you've launched your brand, and you're learning in the cold room, like what were some of the biggest realizations that were made from working by yourself to working with Pineapple, and utilizing his SOPs?
I think the main thing that I noticed, because I mean my SO or my like I was on the right track. I was doing relatively the same thing to a certain degree. It just wasn't controlled, right? So at by the point that or when I got into the room with him, it was mainly just working with amazingly grown and amazing hash genetics, right? So the organic aspect of it was new too. Quad Farmers was on a at the time he was on an advanced nutrient program. And so if anybody has ever like, you know, any sophisticated palate or any hash maker will know that's washed with advanced or washed biomass that was grown with advanced nutrients. There's a flavor, hands down. Like I've fucking grown stuff that was grown with advanced nutrients or I've washed stuff that was grown with advanced nutrients in the exact same cut that wasn't, even in another salt, and it did not taste like that. There's like a halitosis imprint on the tastes like bad breath, every one of them. And so um that was new, right? The terps, that was really new. The just dumpers, like that was fucking new. Um, and then from there, I mean, I think the working with somebody that cared was a big difference, right? Like some people are cash crop growers and some people are passion crop growers, and pineapple is a passion crop grower. And so um so I mean, it was just like the values as a human being too. Pineapple and I really aligned on that, or really align on that stuff too. So I think what it was just seeing somebody who was like kind and into this game, very little ego. Um, it was just a refreshing refreshing person, or a refreshing view into this game. I mean, I was prepped that every hash maker was going to be an egotistical asshole. So I didn't know, like, you know what I mean? I didn't know who I was getting into it with. And so Pineapple, he's a great guy, man. He's fucking, you've met him. He's amazing. You had him on the show. His story is incredible.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I think the thing I most noticed was consistency, and then also just like attention to detail within the SOPs, knowing what temp your water was, knowing this, knowing that. And so to answer your question, I think it was just the fact that they were dialed in SOPs that I could then see a repeatable like end result.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I could wash it I could have more than enough biomass to fit in the vessel and do it twice and get the same results. That was really cool for me, you know,
Yeah.
or relatively the same results.
Yeah.
And so the same quality, at least, out of every time. And I mean, when we first started, we started in machines. We were in machines when I started over there. And so ultimately, like, still to this day, I would put those machine SOPs up against a lot of other people's rosin, or like, if that's how you want to look at it. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to do it with a machine that's clean fucking rosin. It won that contest, machine washed, right? And so it's like, and I'm talking bubble dude. They're those like big 20 gals. You know what I mean? Not like a hashtag.
Yeah.
So there's definitely ways to go through it and to approach it with care. And I think that what happened with me was that, like, I had somebody who had put years into it, be like, here, man, come up here, check this out. And that was it, right? Like, and then so my passion, I have like with ADHD, I get fixated, bro. Like, I get disgustingly obsessed with shit. Like, it's to the point where I don't really sleep very often. Like, I sleep like 4 to 6 hours a night, because as soon as my eyes open up at 5 in the morning, I'm like, poof, Lost Boys, let's go, and I fucking get after it. It's crazy. But then another thing too, like, back to the whole drug addiction and stuff. Like, I'm just grateful to be alive. Fuck. Like, there's no two ways around it. Like, I'm just, and so every day, like, I'm just trying to be a better man than I was yesterday. And usually, like, it's easy to succeed. And so, and like, if I fuck up, then there's always tomorrow, you know? And so with that and like gratitude, that's what's taking me this far, for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that you were able to go through everything that you went through, and then know to leave all those substances behind, but travel out to Victoria with a plant, and you know, still remain heavily involved in the cannabis scene, and that not have a and just understand and recognize that wasn't the catalyst or issue, that
No. Yeah. It wasn't the gateway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, for me, I mean, I was on a ton of pharmaceuticals, right? Like, they had prescribed me a shitload for those 3 diagnoses. And I was moving here to get sober. So that meant those too. And so I needed weed. Like, I needed it. I wasn't gonna be doing good. There was gonna be a level of mental and physical withdrawals that I needed to deal with. There was gonna be a level of anxiety, and my ADHD was gonna be through the fucking roof.
Yeah.
And like, I've never been better. There's never been a better Jesse, a version of me in the world. Never. Like, never in my life have I been a better person, or been able to execute my own values and my own whatever better. And like, when I got here, I made a goal, and the goal was, I want to be emotionally and financially stable while being myself, all along maintaining these current morals and ethics. And so, I mean, the beginning part, emotional and financial stability, pretty like obvious why I put that in there. While being myself was a huge one. I didn't want to do a job that I didn't want to do. And then the end of it, while maintaining these current morals and ethics, I needed to stay sober. And that was it. And that's all I wanted. And that's all I do want from life. That's like, I don't want money. I'm not big on it. Like, I don't care. I'm down. Don't get me wrong. Like, fucking everybody likes a bunch of money, but like, that's not what I'm chasing. I take all my money and pour it back into Lost Boys. Jesse has very little money. You know, like it all just gets poured back into this, because this is actually the first thing in my life that I could see taking me somewhere, bro. Like music, I knew was going to be short lived, or like at a level, right? It was going to plateau at a certain point. I'm a singer and I bang on the guitar like it owes me money. Like I'm not this like profoundly good guitar player where I could go like be a studio musician. That like my whole life I was told not to play music. Like you're fucking too loud. Not that I was told not to, but like you're too loud. Don't play right now. Or like you always need a backup plan because this isn't going to pay your bills. But like ultimately it could have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I proved that it could have, and I could chase it again. I still kind of look for gigs every now and then. Um, but like ultimately, this is the first thing. Okay, I've chased what I've loved my entire life. I skateboarded, I played music, and now I'm making hash. And I can promise you that making hash is the most peace I feel in my soul. There's
So,
it's
so
yeah.
let's talk about that. Like, you know, all right. First of all, is Lost Boys still operating out of Pineapple, or do you have your own lab currently?
So for the meantime, like we're finishing off this collab, and then next year I think he's going to take it on his own.
Yeah.
And so for right now, for the meantime, I'm like in a bit of a transitional period. We've got a new build underway. So I've got a partner and myself. Somebody's going to be cultivating, who's been doing it for years. You know, when you find somebody who you can jive with, and then also who just knows the job a little better than you, why not, right? And so Lost Boys has yeah, we're fixing to get it to a point of a bigger single source garden and my own lab. And so
Beautiful.
hopefully I think it should all be done by Marchish
Beautiful.
is my
So
thoughts.
I want to talk a little bit about your lab, and I'm sure you've put a lot of thought into how you want to lay it out and your design of it. So you mentioned you've done some work with Marcus's Bubble Now machines. Is Are you looking to utilize some type of commercial washing vessel or a piece of
Yeah,
equipment? Are you looking at hand washing?
I mean I think at first, just because you know as we encroach on this project, I think that like you know the original builds are going to be a little bit expensive and stuff, and I think that I'll be hand washing at first, but ultimately would like to move into something more automated, because I mean, I can I can get a lot of work done. I mean, I've done a lot of biomass, hand washed a lot of biomass this year. Like I put in the hours, and I've got the gusto to do so, but I do think that not only can we do more, but like we can take care of our bodies while doing it with the proper machine. And so like every hash maker gets this. I've talked to so many of us who get that fucking the hash making shoulders. Like your back at the end of the day is done because you've just been slouching over this fucking barrel all day, and nobody's doing it with like proper knees bent and sitting upright and fucking, like it's and so like I ended up going to physio recently, and he was like, yeah, like my shoulder's been hurting for years. I thought it was skateboard injuries. And he's like, you just need to stand up straight, bro. And like fucking within a week, all the pain's gone. I'm sitting up straight and all this stuff. And so now I'm in the hash room paddling and like aware of it. And I'm like, fuck, like this is not good for me. Like, not that it's bad for you, but it's like it's definitely a lot of work, and like a lot of yeah, it's just like not ergonomic, so to say. And so getting a hashtag, I mean, hashtag as far as the like price tag is are concerned is the one that's like obviously the most obtainable,
Mhm.
and and it's a very realistic price point. And I like that it's basically just me, like it's paddling,
Yeah,
and they've got these like the text where they've got the inside of they're holding the inside of the work bag from fucking twisting up and stuff. So if that thing might be able to do a different job than I can do, or not a different, but like I can't twist it like that
yeah,
unless I bought one of those, I guess. But like the way I'm doing it is much like Hasho explained in the episode with you, where like I'm from the outside, but then like I'm also like I like twist it. So like I'm twisting and like creating that vortex, and then going back to the edge and twisting, and then I'll go to a different side and twist, and it's all like I'm trying to create this vortex. Now I don't know of a machine that's doing necessarily that exactly, but the hashtag is using a paddle. And so
Yeah.
other than that, man, like I haven't really even looked into it.
Yeah. And you
Like
do have the
I know
ability.
that.
You have the ability to go one direction with the hashtag, which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like I think I've looked into like some of the machines like the Peli Polaire and all these other ones were like well wildly out of my wildest dreams, bro. I don't know. Lost Boys even getting to where it is today has been like I'm in completely uncharted territories. Like I had no idea that this was gonna happen. I had no idea that I would be accepted by with such open arms by this community, you know. And so I didn't like forecast that. I didn't forecast ever needing a $25,000 washing machine. Like I didn't. That wasn't money I ever understood before.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I mean, from the humble beginnings that I have, I've talked to Ski Cotter about from Whistler Tech about some stuff that like they have planned, and I've looked at the hashtag, and those are the like I'm pretty keen on doing Canadian made shit for this new lab. I've got the gray fox,
Yeah.
right?
Oops, sorry. What's that?
The yeah, Time Wizard Gray Fox. So it's the same press
Oh
that
yeah, yeah. The tipping press. That's really cool.
yeah.
From Time Wizard Gray Fox.
Yeah, so we just like put our deposit down, so we just got that. It should be here at the end of December. Shouts to him for sure. Super excited. I did a lot of research on these presses, man. Like I went nerd on it. Normally I don't do that kind of shit. I just like ask around. But I like looked into what press I wanted forever because I've been using pineapples, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like I'm making money, so like I should definitely be looking towards the future, towards my own space, and from there, I was gonna get the low temp. I mean, ultimately, it's the last press you'll ever buy, and it's like it's super, 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 super pretty. Like I think, like aesthetically, it's really easy on the eyes. And then also like the build is just sleek, and it looks like. I mean, I don't know if you saw that fucking piece of content. I think it was last year, where they pulled one out of a fucking burnt building and
Yeah.
like restored the thing back to brand new. That sold me. I was like, okay, like I'm into that. But then the one and only thing that like was a con on the list was they were American, and I knew that was going to be a huge hit with the dollar being what it is, and shipping and like with the weight of the fucking thing, and so I like started looking into Canadian presses. I've used Clearly Golds. Of like smaller units, the mini squish, which is obviously not good for the program, and then which is just a bottle jack one, right? And then they're like gold standard, and it just like it didn't check all the boxes for me, and so I was looking for Canadian, and that's what I went with was yeah the Time Fox, the gray wizard Time Fox.
Time Wizard Gray Fox.
Yes, that's right, Time Wizard Gray Fox.
What specifically, and for those who are listening who don't know, one of the key features of the Time Wizard Gray Fox presses is that they're on a very well made gearbox that it's a tipping press, so you're able to move the press, so you tilt it, so you're directionally flowing straight out of the press.
Yeah, like ultimately with the flow, I've never done that. I've never tried one.
Yeah.
Or with the tilt. And so like for me, I see that most people doing it like they're letting the rosin fall through the air, and down. And like I'm not opposed to it being in the air. I mean, if you press it off the plates on all of my videos are on open parchment. It's all falling down. Any airborne particles, it's access to the air, like all of that shit. And so when I'm not filming the presses, I keep my parchment closed and nothing's going to get into that. And so the tilting aspect, I'm not sure if I'm going to I'm definitely not going to drop it from plates to parchment. Yeah. I will try it with the parchment closed. And if I like it, then great. But like I got the tilting feature, but it was only a couple $100 more. I didn't want to not have it, but I also ultimately might not use it, and I won't be bummed. With a press, like we all like, if any hash maker knows, you really you just it needs to close, it needs to heat up quickly and accurately, and that's about it. the plates just need to get hot, and they need to close at a certain pressure, and that's all you need from your plates. So it wasn't so much the tilting or anything like that. It was really like everybody I talked to that owned one loved it. It was relatively the same size press. I got a 4x8. The one I'm on is the V2, the Sasquatch V2, and that's a 4x7. And I've used it so much that it's like an extension of my body. And so that I did want that. And so I went like a little bigger so I could grow into it a bit maybe. But it's still like a hand pump and yeah, Canadian made. So there's like the shipping was $200 or something. Like,
That's great.
fuck off. That alone was awesome. And then yeah, I mean, I've heard some people have bad experiences with low temp. And so ultimately, them being American and their customer service being in question, I went with Time Wizard.
Do you are you partial to a specific bag company?
I've always used Rosin Evolution, but back to the whole wanting things to be Canadian, I've actually got some Supreme bags coming up.
Nice.
Right, Supreme Rosin. Yeah.
Nice. What are your thoughts on fresh press versus cold cure? Like, are you very ardently in one camp or another, or how do you feel about that?
Okay, so I like when I started making hash or making rosin, um, I smoked some fresh press, and then I like I yeah, I don't like it. To say it to put it bluntly, like I don't know, I'm not down, not into it. It's just like it's not that I'm not into it, and I'm sure there are some terpy ones, and I've had some like more terpy ones, but every fucking time I take a dab of fresh press, I'm like, I should have just cured that for later. Like why? I don't know. Like it melt. I prefer melt over fresh press. Like why press it if you're just gonna smoke it right away? Like it's just as terpy as the cold cure as melt, and so
Interesting.
you can truly enjoy it immediately as melt without pressing it fresh. And so like if you're after that, if you need to smoke those terps right away, that's the way that I would go with it. But personally, I just take my time and let it cure. I'm not like a big fan on the cleanup of melt. So it's like other than that, I love everything about it. But then I gotta clean out my fucking banger way more.
Yeah, no, melt is a ceremony. It's not for, you're not rushing it. Are you pretty much smoking rosin consistently and melt's only a very rare occurrence at this point?
Okay, well since Pineapple started doing that air dried game, I've been smoking a little bit more melt than before. But like more than anything, man, I smoke weed. I smoke the bong. I live in a house that like I rent, right? And so I'm not allowed to smoke on the property. I'm like definitely not supposed to be growing in here. And and so every 6 months I have this like fucking inspection and I have to tear down the grow, which sucks dick.
We've
But
all been,
anyways,
we've been there. I've been there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I always put it in the story too, so everybody can join on the trip. But fuck, what was the question? Sorry, man. I can't
Oh, we were
remember.
just talking about, I think, melt and your experience with air
Oh
dry.
yeah, I smoke weed and shit a lot more because I mean I can dab in the house and stuff, but I really really like to dab with friends. Like I'm not I rarely um like I rarely dab alone. Like even this is enough for me to be like, fuck yeah, like I'm gonna take a dab right now and shit. But like my lady doesn't like to dab too hard. She'll share one with me and stuff, and so oftentimes like I got people coming through all the time. So that's like when I save the dabs. And then otherwise like I'm trying to get stoned to maintain my like the medicinal side of it. So I just like quickly rip a bong toke and get back to working. Um, or the proxy. The proxy's been really good for me because I don't smoke as much weed on the go. So it's like I smoked a bong, bro. So it's like bad. but I did poppers for 10 years.
That's a long time to do poppers. I did poppers for like 2 years, and I knew that I couldn't keep doing that. I knew that
Yeah.
wasn't sustainable.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did poppers, and so I think the like old habits die hard kind of thing. I really like the bong.
Yeah. Hey man,
And
each their own for sure. Like get it how you
yeah,
want it, and
yeah.
get it how it works. So I think
But I
that
think too, like I'm not gonna lie, I think that being a maker, being Lost Boys, has gotten me to a point of like desensitization. Like I've always got rosin available to me now, so it's it's certainly like it's not that like I'm ungrateful for that. Like it's just that like before it was like, man, like I got this one jar and I want to crush it because it's the best thing I fucking have. And now it's like I got these 10 jars and they're all amazing. And then the weed, now that I'm like a little more plugged in, I mean, I can get really great weed too. So the weed's also really good. And it's just like everything is great. So I just like gravitate kind of towards the thing that's a little more quick.
hey man, that's fair. I did
Yeah.
I used to really enjoy the act of smoking. Like I remember being really young and like getting those Popeye candies and being like, oh yeah, this is just practice, baby. Like I
Yeah.
am coming for you, smoking.
That's right.
And when I finally quit smoking cigarettes, I quit by smoking a lot more cannabis, and then after that wore off and the whole nicotine thing wore off, the dabs just took over, and I found it to be like I was had my one dog walk a day that I would have a joint, and then one day that just stopped, and then I was like, I haven't smoked weed in a month, and then when I went back to it, it was not as desirable. But I think everybody's on their own journey, and
Well, I think
there's
that's it for me. Like it, that combustion, that smoke flavor, that bite that you get from smoking weed is close enough to tobacco
yeah,
that I'm like, okay, this is still scratching that itch. I still smoke nicotine in these vapes, but when I got sober, I also quit smoking cigarettes. And so it's like I gave myself some allowances, right? I was like, okay, like I'll keep on the vape and like I'll do this bong thing and I'm just like had to quit the things that really needed to be quit. And
yeah,
like I think the next thing coming will be the bong because I do feel it. Like it's gnarly. It's not like it's something I won't lie. It's definitely much less flavorful than a dab,
yeah. No, for
right?
sure. For sure. I wanted to ask about resin mixing. Is that something that Lost Boys is a proponent of, or is that something you try and stay away from?
I mean, the thing is like I feel it's like personally like it's a bit of a like it's a way to cook results if you know what I mean. Like if you do a blend, like you're gonna widen that terpene profile, and it's going to make you could take a bad flower and a good one and get more decent rosin. You know what I mean? And so I think that what it really all boils down to is the ethics of the maker. And so like when herb mixes fucking a specific ratio of 90 u heads from his strawberry guava and his papaya and presses them together, like that's art. That's fucking gangster, like and then when but then like there could be other people out there not doing it in such a way, right? And so I think if you want to mix rosin, two rosins together, blend rosins. Hasho really made a really good point in the episode about that, where it's like, how are you really going to amalgamate those together fully, 100%, right? Where like if you press them together, they have to squeeze their way through those microns and they become one. And that's like that like kind of like changed my mind about blends and shit because like blending two rosins makes sense to me. If you've got a rosin that's say dry, super terpy, super great, still slaps, and then you've got this other rosin that doesn't taste like it at all and it's like saucy as all get out, you barely keep it on the tool, you put them together and you get this perfect consistency, well then you've won. But there's There's just a lot of ethics involved. I think that this game is extremely confusing from a consumer standpoint, and like I'm super passionate about um, consumer knowledge. Anytime anybody wants to come hit me in the DMs, I will get back to you. I promise. Lost Boys Rosin on Instagram. I'll answer your question. And it's like I'm not trying to give away tech, but like if you have a question about what hash is or why this is whack or why this might be whack or why it might not be, like, I got you. You know, like I think like there's some people out there white labeling and they're doing it right, and that's fucking dope. Get after it. But then there's people out there white labeling who are lying to you, and that's not okay. And I think that that also plays into what you're asking about blends.
Yeah.
I think that if you want to mix rosins, Hasho's point about it not amalgamating fully kind of makes sense. But I
Mhm.
also don't think that it's unethical to mix two rosins. I think that washing them or pressing them together, you're gonna mix them better. But if your end results are fire, but like not what you were after, and you mix two rosins to get something that's more desirable for your consumer, that's all that we're doing as brands. We
Yeah.
are putting stuff in our jars that you see lot LBR on top of a jar, you know that it's okay to smoke. That's it. That's all. Like, and what's on the side of it is going to tell you what it is, and then you can know that you can fucking stand behind that till you die. Like, because I'm never gonna lie on the jar. There's no point. If you make good hash, there's no point.
Yeah. It's disheartening and frustrating for us individuals who have had the opportunity to expose ourselves to enough different resins to understand when people are lying, but it's really convoluted and complicated for a new user trying to redefine their palette and understand when they
Yeah.
pay for a premium experience and they're delivered a 45U experience.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to go, okay, well, how do I work this into understanding the ladder of quality that is, already very nuanced in this specific niche. So I completely relate with you, and I think there's a ton of fuckery, and we have to understand that wines are all blends, and there's going to be stuff like cookies and cream that does extremely well as far as yields go, but doesn't produce a desirable profile. And there are going to be companies that are going to do really well with bringing in a heady boy, and that heady boy figuring out how to take this 2 or 3% yielder and blend it with this 11%er at a certain ratio and create unmarketable, a palatable, acceptable presentation and offering at a certain price point.
Yeah.
And that code is going to be a revenue generation for that company. So I think that it's coming, but I think that it's interesting to get different people's opinions where, you've got one side of the scale, like, Bird coming straight out from Frenchie and being like, no resin mixing, that's shouldn't be allowed, should be the plant doing the representation of the profile, all the way to the vast majority of others that go, yeah, I'm a big fan, it's what's going on, and you're seeing it win a lot of competitions. So it's going to be interesting if we see competitions start delineating between blends and single sourced varietals.
I
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like, I not to interrupt or whatever, but I asked about that for this upcoming hash it out. I said, are there any limitations on the rosin? Well, no. It's just live rosin. You got to enter live rosin. That's it. And so that, I mean, personally, like that made me like wonder about the competition coming in. You're like, oh shit, like are some people gonna make like the turfiest mix that they can and slam it out? And so ultimately, I mean, I decided to enter something that I would put in my jars. So that I think if they can say the same thing about what they enter, then everything's fair. But ultimately, I think it is cool. You can definitely like dial in the specifics of entries within contests, and I think we will see that, like on a 73 to 159 U contest only, cold cure contest only, right? And or whatever, right? Like all of the basic options or all of the vast amount of options, full melt contests.
Yeah, I think
Right?
controlling as many variables as possible while competing in a fun way is how we're going to learn as a community, and then utilizing and then layering test results on top of that, like hard COAs from our
Yeah.
lab, and then you can really learn. And I have melting of the heads, and then there's a ton of other people like LeGros and others across North America that are throwing a lot of events, and we're starting to see a rise in these little competitions and meetups, and
Fucking
I
right.
think that's super important. Like I think that's how we get better, and understand that this isn't who is the best. This is who is the best on that day.
Yeah, I think that like ultimately the best is subjective, right? So like we as the like let's just use this competition as an example, the hash it out one. Uh, as like contestants, we all we all stand to win. Like we all make top shelf, and after that, it's gonna be the day is gonna decide, like you're saying, right? So we can all really we all have a chance, and so I mean I think that it's I ultimately like I think what is most important about these events, especially right now as like we're coming out of COVID and they're like starting to pick up, is just the fact that they're happening. Like I am so fucking humbled and so grateful to have been invited alone, that like the win whatever, like I don't even care, the variables didn't matter to me. What mattered to me is that like we're all going to be in the same fucking room. That's cool as fuck. Like that's some cool shit. You got some OGs, and then you got all the way up to like I might be the youngest hash maker there, like not in age but in brand. And so I think that like that's what gets me excited to see that this is all starting to come together. I don't think that like I think that yes, you're right. To eliminate as many variables as possible within these contests is how we come to like a true best rosin of the day. But otherwise, like it's just about coming together. Like the fact of the matter is that like we, the group of us would otherwise not meet. Like
Oh,
we are all
no. I mean, we are united by this plant, and like the more
yes,
we get together like this, especially as Canadians, and the more of us start to transition into the legal space, the more we realize it's that the meme where the picture with the big fish chasing the many little fish, and then the many little fish turn into the shape of a bigger fish and chase that big fish.
yes,
That's what's going to happen. I mean, we're going to network and find who works well together, and create these pockets of teams that might not be directly affiliated in the same business, but once we enter into the legal market and get situated, we're going to be able to help each other and work with each other at a much faster and easier rate than it would be to work with outsiders or strangers. So I think networking and throwing these events and getting to know your peers is super important. I want to ask you, what are your plans with Lost Boys? Like you talked about a facility that you're building out. Is Lost Boys going to stay in the legacy space for the foreseeable future, or what's the plan?
okay. So before I answer that, I need to get my computer charger. Is that okay?
Yeah,
It's
no,
gonna die
absolutely.
on us. I should
Grab
have
me.
plugged it in. But yeah,
I'll
just give me a sec. Sorry, dude. Actually, I can kind of. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so then maybe I can answer or start answering. So ultimately, the move to the legal is, if you're not thinking about that, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. And so, um, yeah, that's like where the plans are headed for Lost Boys. But does that? I don't know what that looks like as far as time frame, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're not
Like,
there's no set timeline, but it's definitely it's front of mind as far as they're getting being properly prepared.
yeah, and so like what that looks like. I mean, in this climate right now, it's super interesting because you've got a bunch of people holding licenses with no passion for the plant. So so they need people such as myself who have built a brand, who really like truly will die, or who will bleed and pour their soul into it. And so like the climate right now is super interesting for someone like myself, where like I came from very little. I have very little. And so for me to be able to make the move on my own to the rec market is like, that's a daunting task, right? Like even just to start beginning to think about it. And so what Lost Boys needs right now is its own genetic catalog and proof in the pudding, like proof in the SOPs. And so that's what this facility is for, is to build out the team that I need. I think I only need 3 or 4 of us. Um, and we have a bunch of genetics. Like it's not that, like we've been working on the catalog, and so now it's a matter of getting proof in our grow methods and our SOPs and how the team actually flows together. This up until now, Lost Boys has been one person. So it's been me constantly, like, yeah, just never stopping. I don't sleep. Like I mean, it's not that I don't sleep, but I fucking work hard, and I don't take very many days off. And when I do take days at home, it's always those are the days that I'm, you know, trapping. And so it's like there is no rest, but then at the same time, like it is the purpose that drives me to, like, yeah, want to do things, want to be alive, and want to be after it. So like ultimately, yes, the answer to your question is we are trying to get there. um and it's a matter of, yeah, like, because I mean, I know I could walk into a space and be like, okay, here's my SOPs, I'll write them down and blah 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 blah, and like and I can tell people what I'm going to do. But then there's going to be a lot of weirdness involved that I've, like, because I worked at a micro, so like I know what the SOP life is like versus an ACMPR grow. Like I get it, but I also understand that there's going to be stuff that I'm not going to be able to foresee, like, or to, like, oh, you have to scoop the hash with that spoon. Well, there needs to be an SOP around that, and that kind of thing. So like those things are going to be um like a little bit weird or whatever, but at the same time, like I'm fully prepared or fully confident that right now with the skills I have, I could turn out a legal program. So it's just a matter of being able to more show up with stuff I know that dumps, with a team that I know can grow it, with a team that can help me extract it, and yeah. And so for now, it's just like building the brand. And the thing about Lost Boys is when I came up with the name, I didn't necessarily have too much foresight, because like it's a Disney name. There's boys in the name. Health Canada might not like that. There's like there's lots, right? So I started, once like these things started becoming like a, oh fuck, like this is a reality, like I could take this to the rec market. I started looking into it. And so like as far as I can tell, Peter Pan and the Lost Boys are in the public domain, so Disney's not coming after me. So it's a matter of finding out if Health Canada would like it. And then if they won't, then I'll just run with LBR. And so lately we've been like trying to really like drive that.
Brand the acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drive that. And then the boys, like the Lost Boys characters, they were dope. Soil to Oil Lost Boys. It was really cool. Growing to Smoking. I've got cutouts of them.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. And so like they were sick, right? And it was really fun, and but then if we look at the limitations of the rec market, it's not going to be allowed. Not even on the Instagram is it going to be allowed. Like,
I mean,
so
we don't know what's going to happen after U.S. federal legalization. Like, my opinion is that when that does, if that does happen, and when that does happen, Canada is basically going to look to the U.S. marketing laws and go, yeah, what they said, because Canada just doesn't like to be a leader. And so if they're going to be a leader, they're going to make sure if they're walking between incredibly narrow lines so as not to, cause any undue public outcry. But once there's somebody else breaking the wind in front of them, they're just going to be like, okay, well, we're just going to do what those guys do because they look like they're making money. So I very much look forward to that, and I think that we'll be able to see more creativity in the branding and marketing, because I mean, what's happening down in the U.S. is pretty, carte blanche, just
give them.
free reign.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like so I mean since we're on the topic of branding and shit, like huge extreme like heartfelt shout out goes out to Hash Milk, and that's at Hash Milk Co. And he's designed everything for the project so far, and he's had the same vision as me, and he's really really taken it upon himself to treat Lost Boys like it was his own. And so like the branding and these changes we've been making, I mean recently we started doing artwork that has nothing to do with the strain. Like who gives a fuck? Like why am I telling you if I'm gonna give you $150 to $200 to make a piece of artwork? Like I'm hiring you as an artist. So like as a musician, like I looked at it like I wouldn't take jobs that people told me what to play. Right. And so ultimately as an artist, that's what you want. You want gigs that you want to be able to do your own art. Right. And
Yeah.
so and like it turned out that it was the best rap yet, or like the best raps yet, right? And they're like fucking he pours his fucking soul into them and makes them fire. And like they're unreal. I don't know if I have any. I got these ones.
Hash Milk did the Melting of the Heads New York City poster. So
There you go.
Yeah, he also did that.
Right.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are awesome.
So he's just on it, man. And like and so when I said to him, I was like, bro, like I personally myself, like I'm a super creative individual, but I'm not visually creative. I'm what there's like a phenomenon where you're like blind in your mind's eye. So I can't really picture things in my head. I can't picture my mom's face, so to say. And so like I have these visions. I'm like, bro, I want the boys and I want them to be growing. And then the next stage, and then the next stage. And that's why I chose him ultimately, because he'd watched Hash before and then had this phenomenal artistic eye. And I was just like, dude, like I don't even need to explain like hella. I don't have to get into this with you. I can just say I want 6 boys doing 6 different things. First one's growing, last one's smoking, and fill in the blanks, bro. And he's done it before, so he just did, right?
Yeah.
And then but then he did like hours and hours and hours of research. He watched Peter Pan on fucking like double time or half time or some shit like 5 times, getting all this like content to draw from, and like he really cared, you know, and he really put it in and treated it like it was his own. So it's just been a no-brainer to continue to bring him on. I'm actually working on getting him to like be a part of said Lost Boys team that I was talking about earlier.
That's dope.
And so yeah, I fucking love the guy. I really do. And his work. And so and he's been able to like take all my ideas and make them into reality, and then from now, like I didn't give him any criteria for the last 2 raps. It's just like, hey, this is the strain. I need that information on the bottom. I want you to make a piece of art and sign it and number it. And so like people can start collecting them like Pokemon cards. And I'd really like to see that happen on the legal. So like ultimately I'm probably like realistically on a fast pace, like a year and a half away from starting to look into that.
Yeah.
But maybe could be done faster. Like we've all done this before, and we're all coming together to try it together. So it's like the proof shouldn't be that hard to figure out or to put into the pudding, you know?
What is the most frustrating thing for you as a business owner about the current regulatory framework here in Canada?
Like the grave regulations?
No,
Or
the legal, like transitioning, like as you as a business owner, Lost Boys, wanting to transition from legacy into legal. What is the most frustrating aspect of that transition for you?
I suppose it would be just like the like the amount of money needed to do it, like on your own, right? And so I think that I don't necessarily look at it or look to the transition, so to say, as frustrating. I look at the current climate of the rec market as frustrating. The current not climate, but the current state of the products, like all of that is frustrating. But then you see people like Brindle Farms and Slurm who are now making it to the stores, and that's some fucking first wash live rosin right there, right? And I've tried it. It's fucked. It's fucking really good. And it's like, boys, you did it. You fucking did it. Like Mazel Tov. You made it. And so I don't know that I'm frustrated. I don't know that I am. I think that I'm hopeful, bro. Like I ultimately there are some like obstacles, but that's life. So I think like the most frustrating part is all of the obstacles themselves. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm
Do you
just
think
go on.
do you think you're better off staying in the legacy market for the next 12 months and building your brand? Or do you think that if you were given the opportunity today, it would be better business decision to transition today?
I'd wait. I think it depends. I mean, I guess the right deal would make me go, but
Sure.
I'm not in this to sell the brand. I'm in this to solidify my fucking future. Like, um, ultimately, I mean, I think it'd be fucking stupid to not sell it for the right deal. But I don't I don't know, and like no ego involved. Like if somebody can take it over and do it right, then I'll be down. But I think like otherwise, what the fuck else am I gonna do? Like ultimately, I'd like to make a decent enough amount of money in hash or in this so that I can do something else that I love. Like, but I don't know what that something is. That's gonna change, right? So maybe it'll be music again. Who knows? Right? So like ultimately I foresee myself doing this for the next 10, 20 years or more. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. I think that, like you said, the community welcomed you, and like we're looking to solidify and grow that family, especially here in Canada. So we need people who are, here for the long run and mean what they say. So I commend that, and I agree with you. I think that growing your brand and being genuine and being able to uh, communicate with your fan base without the regulatory constraints that you eventually will have in the legal framework will allow you to build a, a bigger connection to your consumer base before you transition. And I think we're going to continue to see that as more or less a playbook where you've got guys like Rosin Heads, who literally left corporate, like started in legacy, went into corporate cannabis, and then left corporate cannabis to start the brand, gain traction, and transfer back in. Just from a marketing standpoint, you're under a tremendous amount of less scrutiny, so you're able to reach a
Yeah.
lot more people faster.
Yeah, and so I guess like to go back to your question before, that is the most frustrating part for me. The fact that I can't be Lost Boys Rosin, that fucking pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie. Like, why? Why? Why does it matter? You could be Lost Boys Cider. There's a Lost Boys Cidery in fucking Alberta. Like, what the fuck? It's the same fucking. It's the same board that's running that shit. So yeah, that I guess is something that I didn't really consider. But yeah, that's fucking frustrating. And then like the marketing and stuff too. You can like you saw those brindle jars. They were a beautiful, nevertheless, but a single green. That's it, right? Like the packaging had a green on it, and then the like white and other writing. So it was like it's just like that's frustrating because those guys are making look at what a craft brewery can do with their labeling. They can
Well,
put
look,
anything on
look,
there.
look at the heady beers that sell
Yeah,
for
those raw beers. Yeah,
eight to $20. Have beautiful, beautiful, intricate labels, bright colors.
yeah,
Our jars sell for $80 to $140, and we can have one color.
yeah. Well, and not on the jar, only on the outside packaging. Like
Yeah,
they couldn't if they wanted to wrap that jar with some
yeah.
fucking with that forest green or with that army green with a wrap and the name on it. They couldn't do that, and that's bullshit. Like the most frustrating part, hands down, is the fact that the people who have put it together don't smoke or don't care, and if they do smoke, they're doing it in the closet or they've only started because of this. And like it's not for the people by the people, and that's ultimately what you need. The music industry is failing or like falling apart as a professional musician. You're on the underside of the foot. It's the same with what we're dealing with right now. The record companies or the license holders or Health Canada are the people who are making these rules and they're not the ones that are making the product. What the fuck?
Do
Makes
you
no sense.
what do you feel about the next 3 years here in Canada? Like, do you feel more of the same, get worse before it gets better? What are your thoughts?
I mean, like currently, like I don't necessarily have my finger on the pulse of like the the current events, but like recently that whole farm to table stuff came out, right? Um, where now like you can buy the license. But if you look at the comparisons to licensing between the cannabis and the same like a winery trying to get licensed, it's like $10,000 difference or 10 times different or something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's a
And I
lot.
think that I think that oh sorry, I had a way to relate that to your question, but now I forget what the question was.
Just
Um,
the
Oh
the
yes, yeah. So I think that like at the moment we are watching it get worse, right? And we are watching like the higher ups trying to like chase their tail and make things work. And I think that like you said, looking at the states, like looking down at the states at the climate of what they have, the carte blanche nature of their marketing, the the like collaborative nature between brands, all of these things are all on our horizon. But I do believe like maybe 5 years is like a liberal estimate, like on the more like shorter side of things, where like we're probably looking at 5, 7, maybe 10 years before things are perfect, or not perfect, but where like, you know, you a maker can make the hash and you can go buy it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You, as you mentioned earlier, you're probably the newest or youngest hash maker as far as years in front of the barrel that's going to be attending the next big sesh coming up here in Squamish. What advice do you have for individuals coming up behind you looking to follow in your footsteps that want to make the fast gains that you did throughout your short time, being really focused on the industry?
Your network is your net worth, and so understanding that is what brought me to where I am today. I know that um if I didn't have the people I do in my corner, I wouldn't have made it nearly as far as I did, as fast as I did. Now, that being said, I don't even know, like, it's hard for me to quantify like what Lost Boys is in the industry. Like I have a really hard time looking at like whatever. I don't know, looking at it and then being like, oh yeah, like Lost Boys is killing it or blowing up. Like it's hard for me to like get behind that. So it's like I don't even know. Like I think the most important thing is time in and like dedication. Fuck man. Like I've done some dumb shit or like some like profoundly fucking difficult shit to make this work. Like I don't know, man. Like and then like I also like um I do believe in like in manifestation and in stuff like that. So like you got to believe in yourself. And I think that if you're kicking yourself the whole way, then you're not going to make it as far. And so what's really kept me or driven the brand is having gusto to get up every day and work on it. And like I don't take no for an answer really. Like if I can't wash hash there today, then I'll fucking do something else for the brand today. It's fine. And like be a fucking trustworthy individual. Be like that's the main thing. Like people know that I just don't lie. Like I don't talk shit. I don't fucking I don't know, man. I think it's all about just being yourself and believing in yourself and yeah, like I don't know. I really don't like the kind of advice to like for your branding and shit like that. Like there's all sorts of advice, but I think that the main thing is be a real one, whatever that means to you. And like don't take advantage and that kind of thing because it's really easy to take advantage in this game. It's like and it's super easy to be taken advantage of. So just like have that your network being your net worth, like that's have faith in the people around you. Surround yourself with winners and you will win. There's like all sorts of cliches and stuff like that. Kobe Bryant used to wake up at 4 a.m. every day and get an hour worth of practice in before everybody else. And and he would like really only do it just to show them that he was willing to do more than they were. Be willing to do more than I did. And you'll be able to go. Like be willing to do more than the next guy and your brand will go somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's sound advice, man. I think that there's a lot of people who aren't willing to put in the work and want to get that same reward that they were getting through achieving success for many years in the legacy space, but the game's changed. And I think that, you know, I tell a lot of people, if you're producing a quality product and you're not putting your brand or garnering benefit from building your brand behind it, you better be being remunerated in a large enough way where you feel okay for that, because somebody's building their brand on it. And so
Yeah.
I think it's so important for the legacy players who are passionate about the plant to get access as early as possible and as much spotlight as possible so that they can leverage that into securing their brand and their path to market and their distribution channels. Because then if a few of us control some distribution channels, we can exercise leverage on this market.
Yes.
But until we control the path to market, like if somebody says, oh man, I'm good, like we're growing quads and we're selling them to XYZ Pubco and we're making bank, I'll say, you know, are you going to feel that good in a year or in 2 years when you're not in control of your destiny? You're not driving that car, and guess what? You're the first thing that gets pressure put on. So I think that, you know, getting brands like yours, brands like Kind, brands, you know, there's so many of them, Slurm, Brindle, these real players to market, and really, you know, being able to exercise some influence on what's going on is going to really make that change and start transitioning individuals over who haven't stepped foot in a rec store yet, but use cannabis every day. So I think it's super important.
I think that and back to like the beginning of what you were saying, like it's, you got to put the time in it, you got to grind it out, but it's not glamorous, right? And that's ultimately something that you have to be aware of going into it. Like what is glamorous, sure, is the smoke, right? Like I get great smoke, but like I gotta grind. I gotta fucking grind. Like there's been times where, you know, I broke my hand and I still had to get that shit done. Or there's like, and that's the same with any job, don't get me wrong, but you gotta care, you gotta want to be there. It's a fucking cold room. You kidding me? It's cold as fuck. I spent my entire summer in fucking 40 or less. You gotta want to do it. Like that's really it, right? Like the cold room. I was in the cold room all summer. I didn't do shit this summer except for wash hash, and so it's like, it's truly, you got to be committed to the plant. And like, I don't grow everything I wash, so that takes another amount of commitment to find stuff that's been grown in such a way that is worth washing. And like, there's so much to it. I definitely put Lost Boys above Jesse, like on my priority list. And so I think that like the distribution channels and stuff like that. Like I think that the gray market is thriving, and I think that there will be a day when we all make it over to the other side, including our clients. But for right now, it's just tough. It's tough. Like, I mean, I'm pretty close with Brindle. I shouts to both of them. It's a team of two dudes, and like I'm pretty close with them, and to see the battle that they just took to get that there. You fucking kidding me? Those guys have been working their ass off for like more than a year, I believe. Maybe even more than 2, but I don't know the entire fucking timeline of it. But it's a grueling battle to get your shit to market right now. So ultimately, like it's it's not a safe place for all of us yet.
Yeah.
Right. So moving there isn't on my mind, but not to the point where I need to get there right now. I'm not hyper fixated on it.
Yeah. I don't think you should rush, and I wouldn't suggest anybody to rush. I think Brindle was ready. I think Brindle was.
Yes,
I
they
mean,
had the infrastructure. They're day oneers though. Like they've been doing it since been doing it. You know,
yeah,
so it makes sense for them. But like even so, like Kine's been doing it since been doing it, and he's still like making the move. And so I
yeah,
think like I think it's a matter of like understanding that I'm super young in this, and that like I'm not necessarily the most financially backed brand in the game, and so to just like bide my time. Like I'm really comfy where I'm at right now. Like I've never, my cup has never been so full, and I've never been able to be so generous, and I've never been able to give back to so many people and to help the way that I can help, and to like define my own schedule. Back to like what we were talking about originally, my time in the hospital. The first time when I got the original diagnosis, they told me I was never going to be able to hold a full-time job. They're like, your diagnosis, your symptoms are so bad that you're never going to be able to hold a full-time job. And I mean, I had an extremely hard time doing that. And now I put more than full time into this. It's all I do. And like it's given me such purpose. So I don't know, like I'm happy to just sit in the chair I'm in, and it's almost like I'm in a Tesla. The thing's driving for me, and I'm just doing the work, right? I'm just putting the power in the machine.
I like to say it's, you know, when you're a kid and you run down a steep hill and you get to that point where your legs are just going, and you're not even really in control anymore. That's kind of, you know,
Yeah,
that,
there's
but
no stopping.
yeah, I think that's a good place to be. I feel often that I'm there as well. So I feel as though that's a healthy place to be, where you wake up and your mind starts spinning before your feet hit the floor. I
Yeah.
love that. That's where I'm most comfortable. So
Well, and it started with me when like getting sober. I'm like, I gotta wake up before the demons are up, right? And so I wanted to. I mean, that was like a new thing for me, wanting to put in effort like into the show. The 16 hours a day. I never wanted to work on anything 16 hours a day. Even skateboarding was like 8 hours, 9 hours max, and you're fucking cooked physically. So it's like it was that drive and that purpose to get up in the morning, and cannabis has always been there for me. I always knew I loved it, always wanted to grow it, then they told me not to, and then I like was trimming and shit, and around growing plants and knew better, right? So it's ultimately like the Lost Boys, the Auto Flower Show, cannabis, Megan, and this move to Victoria saved my life, truly, and continue to this day. I get through every day with the strength that I have because of the purpose, and that like that bleeds into the way that I treat people. So I do believe that that has something to do with like how fast Lost Boys has risen. Is that like I don't treat anybody like I'm better than them, because I make cash. Like I don't care. It doesn't. The client's time is actually more valuable than mine. If if we're being honest, like they're putting fucking food on my plate. So like they're the reason why I'm able to get through this. So ultimately, like I treat everybody like I'm their servant, and that's what my customer service is like. And I do believe that that's it shines through. And so like advice to new brands: be a nice fucking person. Like don't be a dickhead just because you're making hash, because like anybody can do it. Anybody can make hash. You have to have the want and you have to put in the effort, but a monkey could do it. Like you're spinning a barrel with a fucking paddle. Like it's really, there's an art to it, and there's a way to make your work as clean as possible. But like ultimately, any human can do it, and lots do. Just like get paid to do it by some lab. And so like to start your own brand, you gotta love this, man.
100%, man. 100%. I think that's super sound advice. Um, I, you mentioned pineapple, you mentioned brindle, you know, is there anybody else that you haven't touched on who's been a major influence throughout your journey that you want to shout out, or any shout outs you want to give right now?
Well, I mean, there's a shitload of hash makers right now. All 24 in that contest um, are people to look out for, whether it's on the legal side or on the legacy side. But there's been like, you know, there's been a few guys that like just have become buddies of mine. Hastronomer, he's the homie. Duff is the homie. That I've watched every episode of somebody that I knew of your show, and that episode was compelling. Like I was fucking like riveted. And so yeah, Duff's the homie. Lots of guys, man. I feel like I'm gonna leave out some people. Hash Milk, of course. Big ups to Hash Milk. Juice Box, yeah, definitely. Juice Box is again down the road. So I mean, him, Brindle, and I kick it all the time. Um, oh man, I feel like I'm leaving people that I should have thought about. I knew this question was coming. I should have fucking thought about it. Oh damn, man. Yeah, like I mean, there's a lot of people out there that aren't on that list of hash makers too. Like BC Alchemy, he's a killer. Um, and like, I mean, I think that everybody I've talked to, I've had some like really good conversations with, and I've really jived with. Um, but as far as like helping me in my journey, Pineapple is the most notable as far as like putting me on. I mean, I can't tell you that like for the longest while in my bio it said apprentice under the Pineapple Reserve, and like immediately that gave me notoriety. People would say like oh, you learned from Pineapple, like that must mean your work is good. And so I mean, I recognize where he's put me and how he helped me get on the map, and where that led me today. I'm super grateful for that. um I worked to like I earned it, you know, as well. But I definitely put a lot of gratitude into him and his family for you know taking me on as they did. And like I mean I made it my own too, right? Like I've the work was just it was as if it was my rosin, you know. So I think that they are probably grateful for that too, right? Like it was a very mutually beneficial relationship. And I mean, it still is. We're still homies. We still work together. So.
Dude, that's so awesome. For the people that watching this interview or listening that want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Definitely on Instagram, Lost Boys Rosin, no underscores, no nothing like that. It'll go to my requests, and I mean, I could show you my requests right now. They're empty. I keep on it. I'm very proud of my like response rate. Um, it personally, it gives me anxiety not to respond, and it also like annoys the shit out of me when someone leaves me on red. So I just I fucking answer. So hit me up anytime. I'm down.
Awesome, man. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for taking the time. I really enjoyed talking to you. I think you're very well spoken. You've got a really cool perspective, and I think we've got lots more to come with Lost Boys. So I'm really excited. I'm gonna have to have you back on the show soon.
Oh, dude, it was honestly my pleasure and an honor to be invited. And like, I think you know how much, like, I appreciate what you're doing here with this show. Um, from like, I told you this in the DMs, but from a standpoint of somebody who's done interviews, been in your side on your side of this, you're doing it well, and you're doing it like better than I did it. And and it's just like, bro, it's refreshing, it's really informative, and I think that it's also like humanizing to each and every one of these brands. And so you're doing some amazing shit with this show, and I'm grateful for that, man. So
Yo,
thanks for having me.
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate the kind words. I'm gonna keep doing it. Thank you so much again for coming on. I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the episode, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much.
Peace, guys.
Cheers, everybody.